Hello.
Hello. Whoa. Why do I sound so smexy?
It's you.
It's me.
It's my old friend.
I guess I can't say Mario. I don't want to get copy striked by Nintendo.
Mario.
It's me. It says it says non-brand association. Lario.
It's a voice that doesn't sound like a computer.
No, I don't sound like a robot.
Yeah.
That's actually what happened here, guys. I've been replaced by a robot, but I found out.
Mm-hmm. It was like Portal.
Yes.
Tasteful reference.
It was my personality was put inside of a potato, but I'm back in my own body now. I had my potato audio, microphone.
So exciting.
This is exciting. I might actually listen to this.
Yeah, we have a candle. We have a cat.
It took some out of good recommendations, though.
Well, what we're gonna say that right at the beginning?
Yeah. So
that we're not recommending anything at the end of this one.
So no one can skip to the end and be like, "What the fuck?"
But but at the end of the next one, we will have a recommendation. That doesn't mean we're done here. That just means the next one it's gonna be a topic that.
Oh no, I was just saying I'm out of good ones.
Oh, I'm not. So you're not going to be fucked out of luck.
See, this is cool. I actually get a look over at you and such.
Exactly. This is going to be nice. But
and
yeah, so
look over at your cat.
Mm-hmm. Who hopefully doesn't catch on fire because we have a candle on the table.
Yeah, we actually have the old setup.
I haven't really had a candle on the table since the cat's been here, so I guess that ruins like the last 5 podcasts. To know that
it was there in spirit. Shh.
Yeah, but
I don't know that.
Well, no one said you didn't have one in your place.
Yeah, exactly.
So there
you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, but you don't know.
Thank you.
It's Schrodinger's candle.
I agree.
I agree.
So
we'll skip specifics.
Yeah, we don't know what we're doing next week, but it's not going to be a recommendation podcast. But we will have more recs the week after that.
We don't know what we're doing in general. Like, I guess I'm just kind of here. I got transported.
You're here forever. The game show's coming back. What?
No.
Well, who knows when? We haven't figured that out. Maybe that'll be like next year.
Don't spoil the surprise, Jameson.
Don't worry, no one. I posted the ad, I should say, for this podcast.
Does it have any views other than me?
Well, it's got like 6 views, but we have no new subs on this channel, so this is still just like our niche little thing. So no one's getting spoiled. Just one day there will be a new Game Shed video, and it's good to know that when that happens for legitness, 6 people will watch.
I know 6 people will be like, "Oh fuck yeah,
yeah, that's right,
finally."
Mm-hmm. So we've got something to go back to, but we don't know when.
I like to think one person is just like, "Oh damn, he's got good audio again."
You think someone's just upset?
He's not Ralph, yeah,
because they had like the shittier audio than you.
In that ad, it was there was just one fucking part where it was just from me.
Oh yeah, they come over and check it out. They're like, hell yeah.
Yeah, they're just like, "Oh, this is funny." Like, I can't blow out the candle in a funny way now.
Did you ever listen to it?
No, I haven't.
You should.
I still never heard it. You should play it on your.
I was gonna say I could pull it up right now, but it might take a minute.
It's okay. We can do that after, or maybe
we'll do that after. We should just play the audio of you blowing out a candle.
Yeah, you have those few times of me doing that.
I do. We could just use that at the end of every episode.
Yeah, just shuffle them like this, like the bleeps. Or no, just have me do that one squeak. Just
one of them was me. I don't know if you noticed in that ad when like the game disappeared, it was like like that was my squeak.
Oh, that's funny. No,
that was my version of your squeak.
I haven't noticed a lot of things that you did in that.
Yeah, I made a nice little edit. I thought that font for
I think it needed a little more effort.
Mm-hmm.
That was dumb. I still need to find my funny, so that's why Game Shed's gonna take a bit.
Yeah, it's gonna be like next year, guys. Don't fucking hold your horses. Hold your horses.
Don't
not hold your horses.
I mean, don't hold on your penis too hard. Just loosen up that grip a little, man. You'll feel a little bit better.
There you go.
Or I mean, I shouldn't say man. It is 2020. I got to be inclusive.
You do. You absolutely do. And fucking now that we've had your triumphant return, and since we started extra late tonight, we can jump into our recommendations of the week.
Yeah, this one should be a doozy.
Yeah, apparently, okay.
I hope the
so
mic's not going to pick up that air conditioner.
it's not. No, it's good. I've had it on every week.
Okay, because it feels loud. Continue.
It does feel loud, but we've figured out, when we started recording Game Shed like 2 years ago, our audio was the worst. I don't know if you've gone back and like looked at any of those videos. It's
we watched
the worst.
Odyssey before.
It's a tough thing to watch.
I don't know, not as tough as my Ralph audio. That sucks because like you should see that microphone. It doesn't look bad. It's got a pop filter on it too, but like it's just like.
Well, to be fair, our videos weren't the ones that aged as badly. There was someone else who was on the channel at the time who had a very large dynamic range.
Oh, that's right. Yep. Yeah, that's it.
From very quiet to the point that you could not hear them to way too loud.
Yeah, I remember when I actually tried to talk into the mic, like project into it, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever, it's in front of me.
Yeah, well, as long as it's right in front of your mouth, it's all good. It's all good. But like, yeah, ever since like the end of 2018, I've figured out how to have tolerable audio. It's better in headphones than it is if you watch it on TV, because like we are a little bassy. I could figure something out. Still, there's something to be worked out. But
change the
it
thing.
works. Huh?
Change the thing a little bit.
Yeah.
So it brings up any bassy,
Especially
because we're both pretty bassy.
Yeah, I'm getting into stuff like that, audio stuff. I'm in classes for it. I'm basically a genius.
Good stuff.
So yeah. Maybe look forward to audio improvements, everyone.
I think we turned around like at some point in the past couple of years, because I remember I was like, oh, I'm the audio genius. Like, you got to do this and this, like, especially in music. And now, like, I'm just like, fuck it, dude.
Fuck it, dude.
Dude, can you help my pony?
Dude, fuck it.
Dude, please help my pony. I think it's his lung. And now you're like, that was you before. And now you're like, oh, I got to get this all sounding good. Got to get good demos. I got a drum kit and some other recording stuff. I'm just like,
hey, that's a good point.
Just like, this didn't sound funny. Go.
That's a good point. I've got a drum kit, so you can like do some drumming for me now.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think I'm that good at drumming.
No, you're gonna. It's good. Don't question it. We have some recs. That rec was a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so
you'll never hear that.
A week and a half, but
you will never hear that podcast again where we discuss that album, because you're not. Too bad that was one of the ones where you had shitty audio.
Yeah, and probably opinions have already changed on it.
Probably.
But yeah, so let's get into these recommendations, because
let's
like
actually
I said,
do
this
it.
is gonna be one doozy of an episode. Holy shit. I don't think either of us expected what was going to come out of each other's movies.
Yeah. I just want to say, Skylar apparently has found some thread tying these movies together.
A connection.
Somehow.
A similarity.
And I guess it's going to be, I don't want it spoiled. You can spoil it right before we start talking about your movie, because we're starting with mine.
Okay. Honestly, you're probably going to expect your mind to be blown, but you're going to be like, huh. Oh, I guess I could see that.
Yeah, I guess.
That's what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. I can guarantee that. But yeah, so these are kind of a little more niche movies, as far as I could tell.
Yeah.
We got Funny Games, 2007.
Michael Haneke.
And Whiplash, 2014.
Yes. That's all true.
Yeah.
And we're going to start. Wait, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
No.
I was just going to repeat what I said, where I don't think either of us knew fully what we were getting into.
No.
To start with your movie.
Yeah, okay. Funny Games.
Because, on a side note, I told you earlier today that I look forward to like finding out which recommendation we talk about first. That's like a little surprise in the beginning of each podcast, because I lose track.
Oh yeah, I took it away from you.
Yeah, so, but at least then I was more prepared to make a transition. Likewise, with this movie, I had no idea what I was fucking getting into. You didn't tell me anything about it. You said, I guess it's horror, and I'm like, is it horror? It sounds like a name of...
it?
It sounded like a name of of an Adam Sandler movie.
I can see it.
you look at the pictures of it, like a couple, that's the things that first show up on Google of like the cast, and you get like these kind of,
It's just dudes wearing white.
pretty looking picture. I didn't even see the dudes wearing white. It was just the wife and the husband.
I thought you were
Just
gonna say pretty picture of a
your-
couple dudes wearing white.
Your average looking white people, and then well, I guess we can
average
jump
white
into it.
family and
Yeah, like
and
the band,
those two dudes in the white. They're attractive young dudes.
I'm pretty sure that's deliberate.
Yeah.
The husband's kind of gross looking. He's got a fat ass nose. Don't say anything.
Okay. So, what did you think of the movie?
Oh man, well there's a lot to unpack here.
Just from the top, did you like it?
See, that's already a tough question for me to answer.
Oh God! All right.
It was.
I love this movie.
It was certainly an experience. I can tell that you love it.
Okay.
So to give a synopsis, and spoilers for anybody watching that, honestly, it's best to go on fully blind. Like, don't even read the fucking summary, like paragraph in the Wikipedia or IMDb. Don't read that. Just watch it, because that's how blind I went into this. Yeah. So I guess to break stuff down, first of all, if I had one note. It's right in the beginning.
Okay.
With the opera singing in the car.
Oh yeah.
When the wife swaps it out, I swear to God, it sounded like Hank Hill singing. Rewatch it. It was. I noticed it, and then I just pictured him doing it, and I started laughing from it. Yeah.
I need to pay attention. So that's your first note, huh? Not the other song.
Oh yeah, the fucking like it went on for a while, and I had to turn it down because I thought my parents were gonna be like, "What the fuck is he listening to?"
Yeah, right.
I didn't want to have a lecture from my dad of like, why are you listening to bad music or something. We gotta get you back on that fucking Genesis and Gentle Giant and all that other old prog rock. To
preface, this movie, much like The Big Lebowski, was about a rug. This movie's about eggs.
Yep, this movie's about eggs. That's your summary. That's all you get.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't like that song, quote unquote. I know it's supposed to be white noise.
Oh, it is not supposed to be pleasant.
No, it's not supposed to be pleasant. I know that's the point for me to not like it, but like I kind of wish this movie had music. Like. I'm sorry.
I want to know what you took away from it, because this is an art film or
May's licking her paw
or a commentary, if you will. And a lot of the things that probably bothered you are very intentional.
Yeah, and I know it's intentional. Like this, ever since Firewatch, it kind of opened my mind to like stuff that's like, the point is there is no point type of thing. Or like, but there is still ways to like break that stuff down.
Actually, there's a quote that I took a screenshot of, a quote from the director, and I guess I lost it. That's great. But
hello,
it was basically,
hello, baby girl.
He wanted to create a movie that was extremely violent and otherwise had no point. But that's
kind of the takeaway. No, get back.
But that isn't the message, and I don't know if you'll be surprised or not, because I think you're pretty observant, but we'll see.
Yeah,
I've got some stuff to reveal to you about the movie.
I guess to like kind of go along it, we get this really average white family, that's kind of has as much flavor as a saltine cracker. I almost call it a sardine cracker. And have about as much personality as a drywall. and they're tugging this boat along on this Range Rover, and they're meeting up with other friends that are kind of that same lifestyle.
You notice
what's the word? Class. And I feel like watching it, I don't know if you're supposed to pick up on it, but I thought that they didn't really they weren't really from that class, and they were just trying to fit in to that. I kind of got that when the husband meets the first son in all white.
Oh right.
And and the father, where the father's dressed in a blue polo shirt, is shirt's tucked in, and the dad's just got extra large, baggy, clothes, and he's just kind of slouching and walking with no posture like the other guy. So that's something that I picked up on.
My cat's trying to eat my mic cord.
That's adorable. Yeah, sounds like you didn't pick up on that either. But so they talk about how strangely some of the other people are acting, which I forgot about.
Did you notice that when they were driving to their place, when they stopped by the gate and say hi to the neighbors, are like, golf tomorrow, and did you the guys were already at the neighbor's house?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, when they stopped at the neighbor's house and they were like, "We'll see you tomorrow." The two dudes who end up coming to their house were at the neighbors before them.
Before them, they were there in that scene.
Yeah,
I think I remember seeing them, but I was just like, okay, they're just part of that family.
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, you watch this, and I feel like I was about to watch some shitty romance or something, or some shitty rom-com. Because, it's just you get this really average looking family. But at the same time...
Even after that song?
Yeah, well, I mean,
You knew something was up.
Yeah, it was one or the other, you know? You really see that when you see, family members being all lovey to each other, or, everything is normal. She's like, it's not gonna be,
I've got to tell you some stuff, but what were you... Did you have something to say?
Yeah, I was just gonna kind of, string it along a little bit. So skipping ahead, you see the dog, and what I didn't like, and I guess why I started to not like the main family, is how mean they were to their dog.
They were?
Yeah, well, yeah, he was barking all the time, and they just kept telling him to shut up, and they didn't ever pet it. They didn't seem like they liked it. They just had it to uplift their status and be like, look, we're a family, we have a dog. They ain't fucking like it.
I don't think you're supposed to like the main family.
I don't think so either.
I don't think you're really supposed to like either side, but you're also supposed to like both sides. You're not really supposed to.
Yeah, but I mean, there's not much development other than that.
Yeah,
I thought
purposeful.
I thought the editing was a bit weird. It was holding on to shots for way longer than it should.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna fucking blow your mind hole with all this this shit.
Well, I'm just gonna throw out there then, and you might change my mind with your insight.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm not a fan of that kind of editing. I didn't really like it in Eraserhead.
The extra long shots?
Yeah, I think it kind of
Kubrick does that too. 2001. I like it.
But usually then
purposeful.
you have the music that you can focus on to.
When it's purposeful, I like it. And in this movie, it has purpose.
It does depend on, its intended purpose, but in this movie where you just watch the gate close fully, and you get almost a full minute of that uncomfortable music. I know the point is to make you uncomfortable, but personally, I could barely fucking sit still without fidgeting with something, so those extra long shots just bore me, and I'm just like, okay, when's the next scene coming? It kind of drags. I'm like, hey, get to the point, I guess. What?
That's not the only time this movie drags.
I guess we'll get to that. Yeah, then skipping ahead, we're introduced to the boys in all white.
Yeah.
And for this whole scene, now this editing where it's just held the same shot, I thought this was effective but even when he was, in his polite phase, I was uncomfortable during the scene.
Really?
I was anticipating something. I was anticipating of he's gonna do something. I don't trust him. He's the antagonist here. He's gonna do something to her. And he's just asking for eggs. You say, "Hey, my aunt sent me. She needs help cooking. We just need some eggs." And she's like, "Okay, how many? 4." And it's like, "Oh, what's she cooking? I have no idea." It's just weird little details with that, and it's just like, I don't get the good feeling from him. But I mean, he does just only want eggs. It's something so innocent and so minuscule. And he ends up dropping them, so he needs more. And it's really just he's playing on the patience of the wife.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I don't know my brain. Yeah. So he plays on the diminishing patience of that wife until she just asks him to leave, and he drops her phone in the sink.
Yeah.
And then he's still sitting around, and also like he's just there. After he gets there from the gate, like it's acknowledged, like, how'd you even get in here? I was like, oh, there's a hole in the gate. That's a question that's just back in your mind that just kind of adds to the uneasiness.
And then you notice how when she went back out, the other guy just came in at some point. So fucking that always cracks me up.
Yeah. I had to pause occasionally to like get food and everything because I was starting to get real hungry, and this movie was like, okay, it's starting to weigh on my patience here. Maybe that's the point.
Here. All right. I'm gonna do some.
Did I cue you in?
I'm gonna do some diving because there's a lot to this movie. There's just a lot. We'll see what we can even get to. I guess I should go in on what some of it means, because like, did you get like the point of this movie?
There was no point.
Did you see it for the artistic merit of it, or did you just take it as it is?
Well, that's kind of a vague question.
Well, I'm just because it's either it's a movie about torturing people or like it was saying something. Did it say something to you?
Mostly not. I was gonna get to that at the end because okay, we're talking about the torturing and blah blah blah. Yeah, so they basically just they do end up just torturing and murdering the whole family. For the entire length of the movie, it's really drawn out, but here I think that's effective too because you get to pretty much live through that horror with the family, and you're worried of like what's gonna happen next. Because the thing is about these characters is they're all about being polite, and in what they think is fair.
They're well mannered. It's hilarious.
But the thing here's I forget what this quote is from. I know it's edgy as fuck, but it's like what's so unsettling about them is like it's not like they have a short fuse or anything. It's that the fuse is already lit and they're gonna explode whenever at any small thing. Right. Like there are parts where he's just like he's talking to them like all politely, and then even if they don't make eye contact, they yell at them to get their attention, and it's just startling. So You're constantly worried of like what's going to set them off. So you have that you're with the family and like, oh, what am I just follow along, but even following along is like they're gonna find something to get set off from.
So they unsettled you?
Yes.
Okay. Here's my disposition with this movie, which I already kind of spoiled. I think they're hilarious.
They're pretty funny. I liked it when they were calling each other Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, and Ben and Jerry. Or Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry.
I liked how when he was like, hey, Tubby, Perry's like, stop calling me Tubby.
No, yeah.
That reminded me of Spenny from KVS.
Stop calling me
Tubby.
Did you? There's a scene,
like, okay, fine.
There's a scene towards the end where they're sitting on the couch and like, they're like, hey, Peter, do this. And he's like, okay, Paul. Thanks, Tom. You're welcome, Jerry. Like just interchangeable names in the same scene. It's hilarious. Yeah, and then Beavis and Butthead comes up later.
Like, they keep being like, hey Beavis, hey, what's up, Butthead?
Hey, Butthead. His voice is so soft and smooth too.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So let me break down a little bit.
Really quick, I hate that they killed the dog. that broke my heart.
I need to break down like what this movie is, I guess, because I don't think like the average viewer will pick up on it. And if they do, they might be a little turned off by it. It's a commentary on horror movies that are actually like this.
Yeah, I didn't pick that up.
This movie is, and that's like what their whole conversation in the boat is about at the end. It's a critique of senseless violence in movies.
That's, I guess, the best way to like interpret it.
That is what the director intended. Like,
yeah, like, well, I mean,
if you see,
you can take in what you want from every art form.
Yeah, you can.
And I think that has to be like the best way, like the most salvageable for me.
But that's why this movie has like a 50 on Rotten Tomatoes. A lot of critics were really butthurt about this movie because this movie is a fuck you to the viewer. And a specific choice towards the end, which we'll get there.
Yeah, I gather it's a bit of a fuck you. It's just like, there's no point.
It's a fuck you to people who actually want to enjoy a movie about a family being tortured. That's just senseless violence.
Yeah, to me, it kind of ended up. I kind of ended up feeling kind of on the latter side, like with the majority of people. Well, that was weird. What? Damn it! You said something that
I'm gonna have a lot.
Got the cogs turning.
I'm gonna have it's gonna make a lot more sense to you why choices were made. That's what I want to get to.
I mean, already they make a bit more sense from what you talked about.
So yeah, okay.
But yeah, so they do some really small, subtle stuff too, and that's stuff that you can be like, okay, everything is innocent, but something's off here, where they one of them asked to use the club at first, and it's just like, you can tell that they're planning something, but you don't know what yet, and then she's just like, okay, it's whatever. They didn't like the dog at first either, then. And you hear it barking. And of course, the father and the son are yelling at it from, when they're on the fucking boat. Mm-hmm. And then you hear it obviously like whimper and, grunt and stuff. And they're just like, there's just like a long pause. And they're just like, oh, I guess I'll go check it out. So the point is, I don't like that family because they're just like, oh, whatever.
Right. But when are the horror movie families ever likable? They're just expendable. That's the point.
True. But I mean, I never really liked those horror movies anyway. So this is kind of like,
That's why I love this.
It's almost, to me, it's almost like a low hanging fruit. I'm like, well, obviously, I'm not big on those slasher movies anyway. So it's just like,
let me get through this.
Okay.
So the first half hour, pretty bland, huh?
I agree.
Not much going on at all. And then right around the
45-minute mark.
Yeah, I want to say right around the 20-minute mark, dog gets killed.
I think
what happens at the beginning of any fucking shitty ass horror movie? Nothing until the violence starts. It's fucking bland, boring, stupid characters, little development, nothing you need to care about. So it's purposely extra bland. Everything's fucking white and dull.
Like the characters are wearing beige.
No character has any development. No character has personality. So that's what that is. And then as soon as it hits that 20-minute mark, it's like, all right, got to get the violence going.
Yeah, I remember looking at the time on this. By the way, this was the easiest movie to find free. The first link.
Oh,
works,
I'm sure.
Which never happens. I had to go for Big Lebowski. I had to go on the third page of Google, which is basically the dark web, basically the deep web. May jumped up on the couch. Now I'm distracted.
But let me say, there's the long shots. Since you mentioned that, essentially the director,
she licked me,
wants you to walk out of the theater when you're watching this. Wants you to get one of those long shots because there's a long shot right after the dog gets killed. That's kind of its first time where it's like, reflect on what you just saw. Walk out of the theater. Leave. Don't watch this movie. So that's why this pissed off critics, because this movie hates its audience. It's hostile towards people who want to see a movie that's about senseless violence.
Yeah, see, it's like, what I was thinking I was going to talk about earlier is it's cool that they're having that type of commentary, but I think there's kind of a line. There's a fine line for how far you should go to get the message across until it's just almost pretentious.
Oh, I think it's kind of pretentious. I don't even agree with the director, but I think it's a great movie.
It's interesting that the director wants people to walk out of his own movie. It's just like, huh. Okay.
I'm not gonna say that this movie doesn't border or isn't pretentious, but
not necessarily
you didn't even
pretentious.
see,
that's just the word, to use for it.
You didn't even see that this was the point of it, but because
I just like Eraserhead. Sometimes I just need the extra insight. Jesus fucking Christ!
The cat. She's all over the place.
She's in hyper mode. She's in hyper mode.
I don't know. So you're supposed to be, and something that we haven't gotten to yet. There's fourth wall breaking.
Yes. Yeah.
And they look at you. They say, "What do you?"
They
think?
look directly at the camera.
They look at you. They smile.
But
they're trying to entertain you.
I think it's not. I mean, it's obviously a fourth wall break, but it's not blatant, I guess, because you can still kind of write it off as like he's talking to one of the characters or himself or the other brother, a friend, butthead, Beavis, whatever.
Yeah.
He's talking to one of them. Like it's a possibility because it only happens like twice. So like, I mean, I know it's supposed to be blatant, but I think that's not done terribly.
There's a pretty big fourth wall breaking thing again that we'll get to, but yes. So he talks to you because the point of him looking directly at the audience and asking questions directly to the audience about like, what do you think? Don't you want like plausible character development and all this stuff, or
plausible plot progression?
Plot progression, yeah. And any time something happens, is it's making the idea is that it's making the viewer feel complicit in the events taking place by watching.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like that, but that is the point. And it does, I guess a lot of people do get that feeling from watching this movie.
I don't know. I wasn't really huge on what was going on, because when he asked that, he was like, don't you want this? I'm like, yes, please. I was just thinking of that. Funny you asked. I was just like, why isn't like there's no development, there's no like progression. So I mean, them pointing it out is also them trying to be meta. I think they're like right at the edge of the line, if not like kind of pushing it. I know that's the point, but I just that's not really a line that you really want to push and expect to get away with. So I think
that's totally cool, because
that in and of itself I think is a huge risk.
Well, yeah, okay, the end was, but I think this movie was from 97 originally, and it's not like it's not a critique that I would throw at this movie like, oh, you're trying to be meta, because like that was pretty fucking unique for the time. Now everything breaks the fourth wall. It's like, haha.
Yeah, it's like, haha, this is funny. I'm so meta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty common now. It's not ever done like very well. It's just like, that's the joke.
Yeah, and like the biggest the biggest contributor to that is Deadpool, but in the comics it's actually done in a very comedic way and very fun and entertaining. And it could just be a small fourth wall break, like him acknowledging his thought bubbles. Or being self-aware that he's in a comic, and that's all cool, but like it just kind of, I guess, snowballed into just like, oh, this in and of itself is funny, as opposed to the context of it. That's why stuff like Family Guy that does it is just cringy and just overdone.
That's why with this movie, I have no problem with it. I think it's done very well, but
I don't think it's done terribly, like I said earlier, but so
I have a lot of notes.
We can basically just, kind of skip through to like, nearing the end.
Well, I've got a lot of stuff. I know.
Well, I'm just going to summarize really quickly because it seems like you want to get to the end.
Not the end. I was going to comment on some other stuff.
Okay, then I guess you can play catch up. But I remember, I looked at the time at a point where I was, still uneasy from then. I'm like, fuck, dude, this is tough. And I was like, shit, I'm not even an hour in this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I said the 45-minute mark, because that was the point where I was just like, God damn, we're not even an hour. What the fuck? So, she gets really, at the point with the eggs still. She tries to kick them out. The husband ends up coming over because it was about time to eat, and then she asks the husband to throw them out, and then he's obviously just like, no, wait, what's going on here? Like, he doesn't immediately take his wife's word on it. And then so they just try to talk through it. She gets frustrated, and then they start finally getting a bit more like aggressive. They're pushing him for the eggs, and then it prompts the husband to slap one of them, and he's like, get out. And it's just like, I feel like I look at them, I'm like, God damn, like, that was a dumbass move. There's literally golf clubs right there, and then that's exactly what happened.
They make every counterintuitive choice.
Well, yeah, they also, I guess, like, the slasher movies.
But yeah, and did you notice that there's never violence depicted on screen with one exception?
The golf club.
No. A shotgun, but we'll get there. But that golf club, they cut right around the actual hitting of the golf club.
Yeah, but it was basically enough on screen, I think. I don't know, maybe I just filled in the blanks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they hit him with the golf club with the knee, which also he threatened him to do that to him.
Mm-hmm.
He already threatened that, and it's just like, and then you're gonna challenge that dude, like, with what? You're gonna just. Yeah, it's just obviously it's a dumb choice. I don't need to fucking stay on that and harp on it. Mm-hmm. And it breaks his, looks like upper femur or knee area.
Mm-hmm.
I should say lower femur because it's right by the kneecap. Anywho, yeah. Then the kid gets upset. And it's really sad to see that kid try to fight back.
Yeah, let me go in on that, because there's a lot of good acting in this movie, and that child actor is a genuinely good child performance.
Actually,
very good.
Like, you can really see like the fear, like that would be what, like, how a real kid would be crying and everything.
Mm-hmm. And it's definitely him. So like, I noted that on its own, but also Naomi Watts, and my favorite performance maybe is Michael Pitt, the Paul. The one who chased the kid around in the house. Since you probably don't know which one is which.
The one that's not Tom.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, the one that's not Tom. But
I can agree with that.
But yeah, there's significance to their names, of course. Peter and Paul, Bible names, I believe. Tom and Jerry and Beavis and Butthead, obvious. Yeah. Entertaining. Comedy, cat and mouse. Fucking, just entertainment, cartoons.
Yeah, they talk about like, there's one point where the wife is like, "Why don't you just kill us?" And he's like, "For entertainment, obviously."
Never forget the importance of entertainment.
Yeah, there you go. Which also, that line, it has new meaning from the context you provided.
It's pretty,
but it's
on
also
the nose.
Well. I didn't really take that as on the nose because, again, I didn't have that insight, because that's pretty much how sociopaths and people who do this sort of thing, do that for, is they get the thrill and just, it's in that psychotic nature. So it's just like, yeah, there are clearly sociopaths. With how calm their demeanor is and trying to be polite about it. And they're obviously really efficient at doing it. When the kid's in the house, you already see one of their other victims, which I think is their own father. I don't know. Yeah, it's their father, isn't it?
From the other house, yeah. I took note of when he first hits the dad with the club, because as soon as they hit him with the club, one of them's like, "Is it broken?" Like he just cares about it immediately, and that always cracks me up, because
I took that as like
they're immediately like trying to take care of him as soon as they fuck him up.
I took that as more sarcastic, where it was just like, "Hey, you little bitch," because he said he'll threaten to break something.
I think it's so funny.
Yeah, they and also they're like, you shouldn't have done that, but let me take a look at it. I can help. I can.
Yeah.
They were like actually trying to offer help. Yeah.
The dad. Yeah, I'm just gonna go through my notes now. The dad is especially useless, and I don't know if there's any validity to this, but I thought maybe that's because it's always the man that's like the hero in all those movies, or who makes it far. But it's like the dad's just fucking incapacitated and useless. The wife is the next most useless, and then the kid actually fucking gives it his all comparatively to the rest of the family in this movie.
I want to say the wife was entirely useless.
Not entirely. The dad's the most useless.
Oh, yeah.
But in order, like the kid is actually, he like kind of gets the furthest up until the point. But yeah, it's so fucking strange because also after they kill the dog, he just plays hot and cold
plays
with
hot
her.
and cold.
It's like hot, warmer, colder, ice cold.
Yeah, so
then he just looks at the camera.
I guess at this point I was looking at this more psychological, and you're looking at more like, what's this commentary, type of thing. Like, what is this saying? I was just like, how are these? You were like, what is this movie saying? And I was like, how are these two gents depicted as in terms of how mentally well they are?
I didn't know this whole thing the first time I saw the movie, but I knew that it was saying something. Like I knew because it was well done. It's a really well done movie. It's not one of those horror movies that it's masquerading as. And I think it definitely separates itself from it. So I wanted to read and read interpretations, watch videos, and there's just a lot of direct quotes like from the director and from critics and stuff, and it's like this is what the movie set out to do. They mock the trope of how villains or killers or whatever always have this tragic backstory. When they're like, "Why are you doing this?" and they're like, "His mom left him. He's gay and a criminal. He's white trash. He has an alcoholic dad and 5 drugged up siblings. He's fucking his mom. Honestly, we're both drug addicts."
Yeah, he's a drug addict. We're both drug addicts.
And they're like, "Do you honestly believe that he'd be white trash?"
Yeah.
No,
look at him.
he's disgusted by the emptiness of existence. It's just so fucking great because they're just going through all the fucking tropes of someone who's a psychopath in a horror movie or a villain in a Marvel movie or whatever.
And for me, looking at just bad villains.
Yeah, just villains.
Villains for the sake of doing evil, which is the worst kind. To get that opinion out there. No, I'm gonna get that fact out there. But for me, and looking at this at a more psychological standpoint, I was like, people who do this, they just, they don't, sure they can have gone through shit in their life, but it's just like when they've gotten to that point, they're just like, they don't count the reasons and have that list of oh, fucking society did this for me. We live in a society, I got ghosted by this girl and now I'm a murderer. They're just like, I just hate life, dude. I don't fucking know. There's just nothing. There's nothing left in in them anymore. They're just like, fuck it, dude.
Yeah, that just right after all that, he's just like, "You actually believe all that? None of that was true." And then he's like, "What would you like to hear? So what would make you happy?" Because so
that's
the
me,
point. There is no excuse for what they're doing. Yeah, and that's the point.
Yeah, so for me, I thought that was pretty accurate for a more real world situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people are genuinely just loose cannons.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I took them as. And then, we're already at that point where they're in that lounge area, living room type place.
Uh-huh.
And there's where you spend the majority of the movie where...
they make a bet.
Yeah, the husband's leg is in a...
Yeah.
That thing.
I don't know what... A brace?
Brace.
Yeah, of sorts.
Yeah, his leg is on sticks.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're just kind of they talk about that, and then they start talking about something, and then it snowballs into something else. It talks of one of the fucking the other dude, Tom. He's always like, "Can you get something to eat? I'm hungry."
Yeah, and then he fucking just comes back.
Yeah, and then like so from that, when him talking about food, they talk about the wife's body and make the father tell her to take off her clothes.
And they don't show it.
Yeah, which is also the most uncomfortable scene.
Yeah,
because they're talking about that. You know what they're talking about. Like, no.
But like, what I like about this movie is it, in my opinion, does manage to avoid becoming what it's making fun of, because it's very purposeful about not showing any violence on screen, not showing the nudity, not using this as an opportunity to show an actress with her top off, like every fucking horror movie like that would do. It's all deliberate.
Well, because this was actually like degrading and humiliating in every sense of the word.
Mm-hmm.
It would be
that, and that's what you're left with. That's what you feel.
It would be distasteful, to say the least, to show that.
That's what you take away from the scene, because that's what it is.
All you see is that actress's facial expressions, and you really feel that.
And it's good. That's what you take from the scene.
Yeah, that scene was really. That actress is really powerful
in
the emotion she conveys in it.
In a lot of
the husband, you get a single tear. He's just a little disappointed that someone else sees her rib cage.
In the type of movies that it's commenting on, that scene is used for a boob shot. Like that scene is not about.
And also, they subvert expectations
a lot.
A lot. You think that this is gonna progress even more. That you're scared of in that scene, and then after they see it, it's just like, see. No jelly rolls. Okay, put your clothes back on.
Yeah, and then I love how he's just like, why did she want to leave? Because he started talking about her jelly rolls.
Yeah.
So it's just fucking goddamn it.
Jelly
Their
rolls.
lines are so humorous. I did want to talk about the bet, because that bet...
Oh yeah, that's the big part of this.
That bet, they make a bet with the family that
a one-sided bet.
That they'll be dead the next day.
In the next 12 hours.
The next 12 hours. And this is...
she likes the butt scratches.
She does. My cat, that is. We
just have some girl here that we're just scratching butt.
This is representative of the bet that all like horror movie viewers make in their mind at the end of the first act, which is when the bet took place, of who's going to live and who's going to die by the end of the movie.
Yeah, it's basically with these type of horror movies, it's just like, you're in it for the end to see if they actually do die or if they make it out.
And they just make it a literal bet. Like they make it.
Yeah, and
characters
the family's never
bet.
like, oh, you're on, and tries their best. They're just like, they say that, and once they make that bet, I think the viewer, at least I did, I was like, oh yeah, they're dead. They're just gonna kill them. They're probably just gonna kill them right at the very end or something stupid.
Oh yeah. So I'm trying not to get ahead of myself, but I am trying to get to speed through it.
We
are
moving
along,
yeah.
Yeah. So that is right at the end of the first act. Can you get my cat away from my mic? Just like call her.
Maybe.
So, yeah, I thought that might be an interesting thing for your perspective, because it was for me to see it as we all make a bet of who's going to live, who's going to die. And of course, in these shitty horror movies, they're always doomed. There is no real point in making this bet, because with the exception of some like very old slasher films, like the original Halloween, she made it to the next one.
Yeah,
spoiler.
I guess I guess now that we pointed this out, I never really liked how in horror movies and games like that the penultimate thing is death. It's always just death, and then after that you become so desensitized to what that even means.
That's what this movie's about, dude. Yeah.
And so like I never really liked that, like that is the consequence for not doing things correctly. I'm just like, wow, really? The characters died?
My goal, since you didn't like this as much as I thought you would, is just to show you what it was going for, because it's really a cool movie. if not enjoyed by you, at least.
I mean, it's cool to hear these insights. So to move it along.
Yeah, when he's hunting the kid.
Yeah, the kid ends up escaping shortly after that scene.
I just thought this was hilarious because and the kid's the smartest one. He fucking takes off his shoes and gets in his socks so the guy can't hear him as well. Or his pants, like he's a really smart kid.
I think he ends up pissing himself or shitting himself right there to get him up so he can have access like a straight line to get out of there. Mm-hmm. And then he bolts, and then they don't even act violently. They're just like, God damn it, go get him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or not I'll get him, and then as he leaves, he's just like, don't mess up the carpet, okay?
Oh yeah, and then they mess up the carpet.
And then he drops it, and then he drops the eggs because the wife was struggling, because they duct taped her, they restrained her with duct tape,
mm-hmm.
and I was like, you think I'm stupid? I don't try to do
You're
that. You're
really making this hard on yourself.
Yeah, and then
you're basically begging me to treat you bad.
Yeah, and yeah,
I love it.
And he's just, and then he pushes her back on the couch, then he drops the last remainder of the eggs onto the carpet, and he's just like, oh, now you've really done it.
Yeah, I love that.
Now you've done it. He told us not to ruin the carpet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love how when he's hunting for the kid, he just turns on that fucking metal song again. So he's just walking through the house. And the
he's
kid
like, hold on, let me play some music for you. Yeah, he finds the hunting rifle that was there that they killed the dad with.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a kid, so you can't really fault him for not checking to see if it's loaded or much less how to use or hold it. But he picks it up because it gives him safety, and then he obviously ends up finding him because it's not that hard to. Mm-hmm. And then he just walks up to him with him raised, and you really hear desperation in the kid's voice. Like kudos to to wherever he ends up. Yeah, and then he's just like, cock it, and he's like, go ahead, pull the trigger, and then it's just empty, and then you get that realization from the kid and just actual fear from him.
Yeah,
and then he's just like,
oh yeah. Boom. I'll try and move this along. There's not much I have to say until the end here again. Obviously,
they get the kid back.
Well, we'll just skip. The kid gets back.
They have the hunting rifle now, and then he pulls the bullet out from his pocket. He's just like, one for Beavis, one for Butthead.
We're like, hey, yeah, I love that. They're like, we should start thinking about making good on our bet. And then they just pick a random character because it doesn't matter which one dies. They're all expendable.
Yeah, and then you actually see some fault in logic sometimes when they jump to it, or they're just taking control of it. They even call the husband the captain, and they're like,
he's the captain.
He's like, this kid actually tried to kill me. Can you believe that? He wasted how many years? And I mean, he antagonized him. On a not loaded gun, so he technically didn't.
They're just completely fucking gaslighting everyone.
Yeah, it was entirely out of self-defense. There's you wasted how many years? Your wife's like, how? Your mom's like, how old? Blah, blah, blah. And then they start counting down and everything. Before this, though, they pointed out what you said earlier, that it was kind of silly that this is all just for a few eggs.
Oh yeah, I love that. I love that this movie's about eggs.
I like that line.
It's he was practicing. Your wife was practically begging you to just give me the eggs.
I like that line. I forgot what it was exactly, but again, I was looking at this more at a psychological standpoint.
Mm-hmm, right.
So I was just like, oh, cool. Yeah, it makes sense because if they're really on a loose cannon, or they're a loose cannon, or they just want this to happen, they don't really need a reason. They'll just assign any minuscule thing to it. Or any minuscule thing will set them off, like eggs. It'll just be something pointless. Mm-hmm. And that's, I guess, when I started to try to glean any meaning from this, where it's just there's not really, it's,
you need an explained video or me.
It's out of something. This is all this all doesn't mean anything. All this act of violence occurs because of something so trivial and meaningless. Like eggs,
yeah.
Just how they view their lives is just something meaningless.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Oh, so that's what you got out of it.
Yeah, I guess if I can get anything from it.
No, that's cool.
But I mean, it's also it's kind of
any movie's open to interpretation.
It's a nihilist.
They're
They're
nihilists.
nihilists. Yeah, it's a
Fucking
nihilist,
amateurs.
it's a nihilistic interpretation
Yeah.
or
absolutely.
existential because it's just like we're so insignificant, nothing really matters.
Mhm.
You can die someplace you've never been to. Like you'll go one place once and that'll just be it. Everybody likes to think their death will mean something, but
Right.
it just doesn't. It's just nothing. To get all fucking
Mhm.
existentially.
I hear
And
you.
it's a really weird like mental rabbit hole to go down to if you're willing to do that. And that's what cosmic horror does. Now I'm starting to digress a bit.
Yeah, this movie actually, the director said it's not a horror movie, and that's why I told you it's not. I didn't know what to tell you it was, but
I don't know what to tell someone this either. But like how I said in the beginning of this, don't tell them anything.
so
to get the quote unquote best experience.
to move along here.
Yeah, the countdown of the wife's age.
They just they basically just eeny meeny miny mo. Yeah, that's how they do it. But they randomly select someone to die. And during that, Paul just goes to make a sandwich.
I think this scene is done really well because he just goes to get food, and then after a long silence, you just hear, you just hear a gunshot, and the gunshot sound is done very well. Like it sounds real,
right?
It's like the gun sounds from Joker.
Right.
It's that attention to detail instead of just having the cartoony pew. It has weight to it, and it's loud, and it's it follows the acoustics of what the room is like and everything. So having a realistic gunshot sound will really add to the the surrealistic horror of what just happened.
And then
because also and he's just there doing this mindless task that everybody does, and you're filled with this dread and uncertainty of like who just bit the dust.
Yeah. But you kind of like, I'm sure you guessed who it was.
I knew it wasn't the wife. I didn't know if it was the dad or the kid.
Okay, because what it does is it cuts to
dad first. Honestly.
It cuts to the TV. Yeah, because
it cuts to the TV
where there's blood on it.
All the blood on it, which is another thing.
Yeah, quick thing I wanted to touch on was they were at the house earlier while Paul was chasing the kid down. It just fucking cuts to Peter sitting there watching TV. While the wife is just like on the couch, like with, gagged and bound. And I'm pretty sure that's just supposed to be a juxtaposition of like, he's just being entertained and there's a fucking woman on the couch all gagged up.
It's like his form of entertainment.
Yeah.
And that I think that was one of also the more effective longer shots because it held it just long enough for you to actually like, man, there's no other stimulus here. I guess I'll watch the TV like the character. And then at some point you actually like start thinking about that, at least I did, about that TV, and then you're brought back into that world. So it's like a double dip in immersion, I guess, which again, I thought was effective. I just don't think the longer shots are effective if nothing else is fucking happening or if it doesn't convey
the
anything.
longer shots,
like the gate closing. I thought that was stupid.
The longer shots are only pretty much there to make you think about what you've already seen.
That's also true with the in the beginning too, how you said it was bland, so it's done on purpose.
It is.
But again, I think it's a bad type of done on purpose.
And we'll get to that. But there's stuff to get through, and I'm trying not to take forever on this. So yes, it's the kid. The kid got shot.
Yeah, and it's really surreal to think that they murdered a child.
Yeah, and it's just,
that
and that's of course done. That's of course done for a reason. It's just showing the TV, and you just kind of hear the two guys talking. He's like, you shot the wrong one. Like you're supposed to shoot the one who's counted at, or who's not. The one who's still in, not who's counted out. And then he's just like, they're spent because apparently, once you've killed the kid. Like, that's the wrong person to kill, because then you've blown your load. There's nothing more for this family to lose. There's nothing more for the audience to be like, the kid. What could happen to the kid?
Yeah.
They killed the kid. There's nothing more for, like, that's the most valuable piece they had to keep the suspense. Which is why it's ironic that happens, and then they just kind of have that little discussion.
Yeah, they're just like disappointed about like, oh man, whatever.
Then
Also, I thought the blood spout on the TV was a strong image. Just really quick, because the other thing along with guns is blood spatter. Like, that has if that's also done well, it's the same thing with the gunshot, but done on a visual.
Right, and then
Joker also did that really well.
Joker, yeah. I haven't seen it since we saw it like a year ago.
And, the blood goes all over the walls. Like you get that initial condensed where it all like the focus was. I blank on the word. And then like all the other residual ones that are like way around it. It's not just like a small circumference of blood that'll be on there. That shit will go everywhere.
Right.
Because if you look at examples how watermelons react to shooting them, or just anything, the entry wound is as big as the bullet, but the exit, because of the velocity of it going, it's not just one hole. The end is like completely, fucking ripped open,
right? Because
all that other mass is traveling through it. So I'm just giving this movie credit where it's due. Where I think that was done well, and you don't really see it done well in media either. It's occasional where you see it that graphic.
So after this kid gets shot and they have their little talk about it, they just leave. And do you know why? They leave because you gotta give the family a chance. That's the point of this section of the movie.
I figured they were just like, fuck it, let's just go to bed.
Yeah, it's that they've got to give the family a chance to succeed. And what I love about it is, and I skipped this part, by the way, because this part immediately there's a 10-minute shot of just the mom in the living room, and like immediately, like all the excitement of them being there and all of this build up and stuff, it's just kind of taken away, and what you're left with is a mother and father who just had their child murdered in front of them, and it just sticks on the shot as she slowly gets up. She like goes and checks on the dad, like nothing stimulating happens, and you're just sitting there.
Yeah, she's just trying to free herself and get her bearings to see where she is and take that opportunity that they gave her.
It's meant to sink in with you what you just witnessed, but
yeah, I didn't skip it. I actually thought it was pretty effective.
I skipped this now, and that's only because, including that 10 minutes, following the son's death and after they leave, there's 25 minutes of equally as bland as the beginning of the movie. Just like nothing really happening. What do we see? We see the dad spends the time trying to blow dry a phone, and the mom eventually tries to go find help. And it takes 25 minutes. Now, this is probably my biggest criticism with the movie, is that this part kills the rewatchability for me, because it's like effective the first time, and then the stuff that's purposely bland, I like the meaning of it, but no one likes watching it when it's purposely bland, to actually watch it. So it works better there as a piece of art than it does as a film, I guess. Which is the point of this movie. It's not supposed to actually be entertaining, I guess. Or it's supposed to be entertaining.
Did you forget the importance of entertainment?
In a tongue-in-cheek way. Exactly. So I just, that's a convenient way for me to skip talking about 25 minutes of the movie, unless you had something to say.
Well, I actually like that scene where she was in the living room.
I think that's probably the strong
rewatch. I guess you could be right, but you don't really see the immediate after effects or consequences of what just happened. You don't really see the character do that, which would add a lot to which would add a lot to the humanity of things and scenes. Example, like in a romance movie or just any other like drama or whatever, if a character goes through a breakup or any type of heartbreak, you just get the montage. You get a montage of them crying, eating ice cream, and then after however amount of time has passed, which is showed by them having a beard and have glasses now to signify that passage of time.
Yeah.
That everything is better, but you don't get that like the immediate like what's now,
which is
what
cool.
happens now,
which is cool.
which is like the most like emotionally raw part in that. For any of those examples I just listed, that is the pain in the bitch part of that type. So, and then like you said, you're kind of trying to process everything that just happened, and but you're going through that with the character in that scene.
Right, exactly.
So that's what's cool. And also in that 10-minute scene, I wasn't sure if the dad was alive or not because his head wasn't showing, he wasn't moving.
Yeah, you don't really know what the fuck happened.
And then you see his hand moving, and it's just like, oh, okay, he's alive. And he's just he cries about it a bit, but he's just like, oh, whatever, just fucking damn it.
That dad is so useless. I really think that might be just like because it's flipping the male stereotype on its head. But then again, I don't know if that's something this movie was trying to accomplish. It just makes sense to me because it subverts a lot of expectations. But
I guess
that's just my own thing that I might have noticed.
So she's outside. They talk about mundane shit, which I guess is another thing to keep in mind with this. Like anything with the family, it's just like they can try their best, but they're just completely incompetent.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the wife does get out and looks for help, she hides behind a tree.
Yeah, during the car that actually could have been help.
Well, yeah, but to be fair, you didn't know that was them or not.
Yeah, and then the next one was them.
Yeah, well, it's implied that it was. You never actually see it.
Yeah.
It's implied that she's about to go flag down, and that's how you connect the dots when they end up showing up with her again. Gagged and bound.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, since it doesn't show that, you're just like, how the fuck did they catch her? But it's just like, it kind of follows suit with what next happens.
Yeah, okay, so let's do this. I wanted to comment on, I like their entrance back in. You see the dad just standing there, golf ball.
Yeah, the golf ball. I thought that was actually like, wow, this movie actually did something horror.
No, it's fucking hilarious to me because you see the dad's face. He's like, oh fuck, and then like you just see fucking Paul with his like hands crossed. He's like, player one, fucking whatever, level 2.
Oh yeah,
so
just whatever.
funny.
It's like, oh hi.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I thought that was actually it was a tense moment because he did that right before. No, he did that after he hit him with the golf club initially.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he was like, let's play a guessing game. I guess that's where the title comes from. They're all about playing games.
Yeah.
And he was like, play a guessing game. What's this? And it's a golf ball. And he's just like, and then he drops it and it rolls towards his foot, so it was mirroring that scene.
Why do I have a golf ball? Because you didn't hit it.
Because you didn't hit it and you hit the dog. That was the whole revelation.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, I love that. A little sarcastic, but equal enthusiastic. Correct.
Oh, and I don't know if you noticed throughout the movie, Paul asks like, "What time is it?" And that's I think it's for two things: to represent like an impatient audience, just like, all right, get on with it, and also for to know like, is it time to kill someone yet? Like, is it the point of the movie where we have to do something violent to keep the attention of people? Did you notice that he kept asking what time it is?
I just figured he kept asking what time it was because of the bet, but that insight added to it. I haven't thought of it.
Okay,
but it makes sense.
What were you gonna say? I'm towards the end of my notes, so I do want to wrap this up.
I'm right at the part where you want to talk about.
Okay, then wait. What else did I write? Oh yeah, I love the delivery of this fucking line. This game is called Whether by Knife or Whether by Gun. Losing your life can sometimes be fun. That part makes me laugh.
It makes me weep.
Does it?
No, I just wanted to say that.
It makes me weep.
It makes me weep.
Okay. Oh yeah, and then I wrote down when he asked the audience, like, do you think it's enough? You want a proper ending, right?
Yeah, that was what we already talked about.
Yeah, I like that. And I guess we're pretty much at the end. So let's talk about the biggest middle finger in this movie.
Yeah, so he's about to kill the husband, whether by knife, whether by gun.
Yeah.
And this is why I made the argument of like the wife isn't entirely useless, because while he's talking, while he's blabbering about saying a prayer and everything and playing this game, she reaches for the gun, actually gets it, aims it at Tom and shoots him.
Yeah.
And that was a wild moment, because I guess I haven't made that observation that hasn't shown violence fully on camera, and it did.
Yeah.
He got knocked way back from the gun, right to the sternum.
Yeah.
And then
that's the exception I was talking about.
Yeah. Then fucking Jerry is all upset.
I want to know how'd you take this moment in?
So he's like frustrated. He's like, God damn it! He knocks her out with the butt of the weapon. And he's like, "Where's the remote? Where's the fucking remote?" And at first,
did you know what was coming?
I thought he was just like he needs the TV to be playing, because he needs that, like, because psychological standpoint,
entertainment.
He needs some entertainment or just some noise to like cope with it, to make him feel like he's in control or something. Right. And that is usually something small with like the killer. And then he fucking just rewinds that scene. And as soon as he did it, I thought the video lagged or something, because it pauses and then like it looked like it sped up. And I was just like, oh fuck, is this website all bonked up? Nope, the scene just rewinds. It plays like normal, and then when she reaches for the gun, he gets it before her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, no, you shouldn't have done that.
Which is
undoing her action entirely.
Which is funny that you said control, because that's exactly what the scene's about. These guys were in control the whole time, no matter what. Family never stood a chance, no matter what they did. And that's what horror movie fans might be a little pissed off about.
Maybe I guess
if they actually had invested themselves in these characters.
I guess I probably should have an extra day to like think about it, because when I saw that scene, I was just like, well, that's fucking stupid.
Oh God, I love that, because that just says like this family. I mean, it sounds like it did what it was supposed to do, but
yeah, it did. But like, I don't know, when he shot her, and then the movie played out, the rest of it did. I just kept thinking that scene. I'm like, and that how it ended up turning out. I'm like, well, that's fucking boring. Like, for once, the movie had conflict, and it was just like, no.
Yeah,
no,
because this typical horror family, run of the mill family, never stood a chance, and it didn't matter what they did. That's the point of it.
Yeah, and I gathered that while we were talking about this, where I'm like,
yeah,
since and it's shown that Tom was watching TV, so he was by and fill in with the remote, so something like that could have been happening in the most variable part in the movie, when the kid escapes.
Yeah.
So they could have redone it many a times.
Right. And the funniest.
But so you hear the gunshot again, killing the husband, and then they drag her out.
Oh, well, we'll get there. The funniest part about this thing, though, is that they have that whole segment, because like the 25 bland minutes right up until this, after they kill the kid, it's like that segment's there because they gotta give the family like a shot so they can try and escape, because the horror movie always has that section where it's like, oh, are they gonna make it out? But then they just say like, yeah, it wasn't gonna happen. Like, no matter what.
Yeah. And then as interpretation goes, I later took that moment as like part of like the none of this matters. None of what they did would have mattered in the end. It's then they're nihilists. But this ain't Nam. There are rules.
So yeah, now we're at the end. The last, I love this, because the last character, they just take her on a boat, and like there's false foreshadowing from the beginning of the movie. Did you pick up? Which is another choice that says fuck you to anyone who thought that maybe she could get away. At the start of the movie, when the kid and the dad are working on the boat, and he drops the knife in the boat, and then at the end she finds the knife, and it's like, reincorporation. Nah, they just like grab the knife and chuck it, or take it, whatever they did with it.
Well, yeah, because you look at that knife, I'm like, wait, didn't it fall off? It's I knew that was a purposeful continuity error because it really focused on the knife falling down in there.
Yeah, and then like you're like, oh,
And I think that was actually the same knife too.
mm-hmm.
Where when they came back a second time when it was just the husband and the wife, and they were like, "Oh look, we have a new toy to play with."
Right. Did you like? I guess you probably didn't, but I love that false foreshadowing of just like they're gonna give her the last ditch effort again. They're just like, oh, that's cute.
It's like that's some real like sportsman effort or some shit.
Yeah, and then they just like sit her up on the boat. They're like, what time is it?
It's about 8. Like an hour still. They still have an hour for the bet. And she's like, oh, okay. And he kisses her on the forehead and he just fucking yeets her off the boat. Just, ciao, Bella.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that line was pretty great.
Ciao, Bella.
And then, it was a really, like, anticlimactic, like,
exactly
ending. And that I knew, like, okay, yeah, like, it followed suit with my nihilistic interpretation. I was just like, her death didn't matter. She didn't need to go out with a bang. No one's death matters because you're not going to be there.
They just ran out of time.
It does.
They just ran out of time. They're like,
people die from stupid shit all the time.
They just push her off. Oh, I'm getting kind of hungry.
It's like, honestly, you're like, why did you do that? We had an hour. Like, that could have been for entertainment. It's just like, I don't know, man. To be honest, I was getting kind of hungry.
Yeah, it's fucking...
and that whole boat ride they were talking. The other guy was talking about alternate universes and how one is canon, the other one isn't.
I thought this would have opened up the idea of the main message of the movie to you, because what essentially they're saying here. I'll just read my note. Yeah, their conversation in the boat about the real world and the fictional world is probably the most on the nose that the film gets about its message. Basically, if you're depicting it, it might as well be real. What's the difference? They basically say that because that's what Paul says. Like, well, you're seeing it in the movie, so like, what's the difference? And then the other guy's like, well, that's bullshit. Well, and this is the director saying,
I took that as Tom was like getting all into this, just talking about this, like he read it in a comic book once, and the other guy's just like, shut the fuck up, Donnie.
No, this is the director being like, people who enjoy watching this kind of entertainment are fucked up. And that's not something I even agree with. Like I said, I don't even agree with the director necessarily. I think you should be able to depict whatever you want in a movie. But I really like, I don't need to agree with his message because I think he did it phenomenally.
I think this just cemented my interpretation of this movie. That, because he was talking about the multiverse theory. In that, there exists a universe for every, no matter how minute and inconsequential the decision is, there exists a universe where you did or did not make that decision for anything you do, including whether or not, I'm going to go pick up this bottle. I'm going to go take a piss now instead of 30 seconds later. And it just basically, again, nihilist. It just shows that, every one of those realities is just as real as the one that you're currently in. And if there's, a near fucking infinite amount of that, how, does that really make it unique? The reality that you're in unique. Does it really make it matter? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the point of this movie. It's like, none of it fucking matters. We could just done whatever the fuck we wanted. Because if you're seeing it, it's just as fucking real as fiction, isn't it?
And you see how that applies to the message I've been explaining to you.
Yeah, but that was, I guess, my similar interpretation.
I'm glad that you came out of this with something.
And all this could have transpired from fucking anything. It could have been eggs. It could have been fucking donuts.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking anything, bro.
Well,
and then they go up to one of the friends that they had met of the wife.
Oh yeah, I didn't even take note of this.
For the same thing, they were asking for eggs and implying that this is just going to happen again and again. And that's the end of the movie. And he looks directly at the camera, and then
we get that metal song again.
Yeah, and then screamo music, and then I skipped to the end because I knew that was the end. I was just like, hey, I don't want another minute of this.
So, yeah, I fucking love this movie. But I loved it before I knew that it had all this to it. I just found the two dudes electrifying. I loved when they were on screen.
Well, yeah, they made it entertaining.
Which is exactly the point.
They were there to contrast the blandness of the family.
And they were there.
They were in full control to the point where it was just fucking stupid and trying to be meta. And then there's the family that was just so incompetent, like, no.
And they're like that's exactly the problem, is that it's so entertaining.
The thing is, like, the thing with the whole multiverse thing is there exists a universe where they got away, or like this never happened at all. But does it really matter if they did? That's the whole question you have to ask yourself.
That is a question.
And does it matter to the White brothers?
The White brothers.
I think it does, because they were so adamant on being in control. But since they were in control the whole time, they never really had to worry about it. So that's a catch-22.
It's hard for me to answer because I didn't interpret it the same way, but I can only see that end as the director being on the nose with you about, like, you saw it in the movie, so what's the difference between seeing that in real life? You fucking sadist. You want to see this happen to families?
I didn't really pick up, what the director all wanted until you pointed that out. I just got that whole...
Well, that could be seen as a failure of the movie.
Nothing really matters. That's my interpretation. I don't think it's a failure of the movie. I think, my favorite pieces of, favorite movies are the ones that it's left up to the viewer to decide what it means to them. Everybody's going to take different meaning for something. And if it's literal, I think you get rid of a lot of the fun, especially in talking about it.
Right.
So,
but you can tell this movie, no matter how you feel about it, compared to all the movies that it's critiquing, this movie is well directed, definitely, well acted, well presented, and just it's masterfully done. Whether or not you agree with its message, whether or not you agree with its choices, like that's what I love about this movie. It's just really well done, and like, so even if you didn't take away what you were supposed to, it sets itself apart from the movies that it's critiquing, which, like I said, that's what I respect about. That's part of what I respect about this movie, is it didn't, a lot of times, like a parody or a critique or anything like this rides the line of becoming what it's supposed to be critiquing, and I don't think this movie does that. This movie manages to stay tasteful enough by not actually showing the violence, not showing the nudity in the scene where it's like, we're going to make her strip. It remains restrained enough to set itself apart and to say, like, hey, I'm not going to stoop to that level.
Right.
I'm going to critique that. Like,
I can agree with what you're saying, and it adds some value to it.
I can tell you just didn't enjoy it as much, and that's okay.
I just don't. It doesn't really make me enjoy it more to think about it. I think, like I said earlier, there's this fine line for what's too meta and too, like, spiteful of an audience.
Oh God, are you one of the critics?
I mean, I'm not offended by it, but at the same time, it's just like, I feel like it could have just been handled more tactfully. I think with because either message that you get from us, where it's either it's a critique on that, it's a big fuck you to the viewer, or me, or it's just like nothing really matters. I think it's still missing some nuance to it. Like, for the whole nothing matters, there's still no other message. There's no message in there other than that, if that's how you interpret it. And that's my issue. With my interpretation, there's nowhere else to go from there. Example, Bloodborne shows, with the whole, or just cosmic horror in general, makes you feel existential and small, but that's like, it doesn't mean like, oh, nothing ever matters. It just shows that, tries to take the focus away of like you're not the center of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Hotline Miami does this too, where it's just like, does anything really matter? But again, it also delves on human nature, and why violence happens, and if how much is it okay to indulge in that sort of thing. This is just kind of like is being violent for the sake of it, which makes sense with your insight.
To me,
but like I never liked the whole slasher thing anyway.
To me, the intention of the director plays a lot into the film. Like, did the director accomplish what he was going for? If he's quoted saying that he wanted to make a movie that's excessively violent and doesn't serve much other purpose and just make this critique, then I think he fucking nailed it. The only, again, my main critique with this is it's hard to rewatch because while those guys are on screen, it's very entertaining. Whether or not that's what the director wants you to get out of this movie, it is for me.
We'll see. Even when we put our big moviegoer, media consuming brains at this, because I think we're a little more apt than the average consumer.
Oh God.
I'm not fucking boasting.
Okay.
I'm just saying a little bit.
All
just
right.
because we like to talk about that.
Okay.
Everyone who thinks about that or likes to discuss it too, I think is just as apt, even if they disagree with everything we fucking say. I'm not trying to put ourselves on pedestals.
Well, someone's bound to agree with one of us.
What I'm trying to, yeah. What I'm getting at is, even with insights, and we have two different interpretations of this, at surface value, for the type of person that just goes and sees movies just for the fuck of it, for the people who like the slasher movies, if you take it all at face value, it's just like it. It's just like a slasher movie, except this one's more meta.
This one makes that choice at the end that's not going to sit well.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. It's like this. It's trying to be meta. It's breaking the fourth wall. There's just that needless violence with the dumb family, and you have really long shots that make it a little kind of almost boring, and music choice that is uncomfortable. So it's just kind of
there's barely music except that one track.
If you're an average consumer and didn't really pay too much thought of it, or you just take it at face value, there's really not much that you're gonna like about this.
I want to know what my brother likes about this.
Taking it apart, that was a voice crack and a half. Taking it apart is how you get a bit more value from it, but for me, I think there's still a missing piece with it. If you get what I'm been trying to say.
Yeah, and that's valid. I mean, I love the movie, and I think we have interesting talks when we disagree. So
I think you can have some music that is on makes you uncomfortable or is hard to listen to, and like kind of elicits that same feeling without kind of just hurting your ears.
Okay, well, I think the music, the usage of that one track over and over is supposed to just it totally fits this movie. It's a troll, but like, totally for me. But
I would have preferred something maybe less on the nose. I don't know. I like subtlety.
I was gonna say, for the fact that most of this movie has no soundtrack, I like that choice.
I mean, it makes sense.
It makes it feel less cinematic. It makes it feel like you're watching something that's happening.
I can agree, but I still don't like that.
Okay, that's fine.
I can agree with it and just be like, I still didn't enjoy it. It didn't line up for me. Like it just.
It's all good, brother.
It's I guess when you're first take here. It's hard. Like for Firewatch and those other type of stuff, it's hard to just be like, really, there's no other development, no other substance I can cling on to.
I'm not going to tell you this will grow on you or anything, because this isn't Firewatch.
I can see why you recommended it. It's really interesting to like take apart and talk about and really experience as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more interesting once you realize that it's a critique on that genre.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I would probably do the same. I would recommend it to people who haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I can recommend this, but not like it.
Fair enough.
I will be like, yo, I'll watch it with you, but I still don't really want to ever see it again. It's that kind of movie.
That's Midsummer for me.
I still get some rewatch value out of Midsummer.
I still haven't seen it again. I don't ever want to.
I want to watch it with people, but it's never really going to be like a part of my brain that's like, oh, that was a really great movie. Not like Get Out, at least.
Yeah, actually, I just didn't like Midsummer. But, so,
yeah,
I guess we should...
That was my closing thoughts already.
We should do our rankings, I guess. I'm glad I recommended it. I do think it's funny that my brother likes this movie a lot because he's really into a lot of the movies that this is a critique of. Like a bunch of shitty Netflix horror movies. So I kind of want to know what he gets out of it, and probably what he gets out of it is just that these guys are torturing a family. Like, I think he likes that stuff.
The face value interpretation that
that's a thing that you could just get that out of it. But
yeah, if you like slasher movies too, I just don't. More power to you. I'm like,
and if you don't care about the characters in those movies and you just want to see people die, then you might enjoy it on that level.
I'm never gonna really be like, oh, you're stupid for liking this, unless it's like Slender Man, or
2019,
or The Forest,
Slender Man 2018,
or The Good Dinosaur.
I don't know what that is.
It's a Pixar movie. It's awful.
It's cool. We should give our numbers.
Yeah.
You give your number first, right?
Yeah. You brought the ranking up a wee bit.
I did? Okay.
Not by much.
Yeah, I'm guessing.
I can't tell. I don't know if I should be glad that you recommended it.
I'm so happy we talked about it.
I'm glad we talked about it, but I'm not happy you recommended it.
Okay.
It's that kind of thing. It's like I got something good. I got like some value out of it, but at the same time, I was just like, I spent 2 hours of my day on this.
Did you like?
It's in the middle, and for that, I think it's a perfectly serviceable movie. If people like it, I'm not going to fault you for that. I don't think it goes either way for me, so it's getting a 5 out of 10 for me.
Okay, so you had it at a 4.
It was at a strong 4.
Okay.
Where it's just 4 is just like it's more negative than neutral or adequate, which is what a 5 is for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would give it a strong 5 because you can still kind of get some of that some type of commentary on it if you look for it.
So you like the Eraserhead better?
Yeah.
By rating, at least. Rating alone. By number.
Well, Eraserhead will go up. I would rewatch that.
You think it would go up?
Yeah.
Okay.
I said that before in that talk-isode.
Yeah. Well, my rating, I gave it a 9. 9 out of 10.
Damn.
This is absolutely a movie that I now feel the need to show to everyone I meet.
You must be fun at parties.
I fucking love this movie. And the only thing holding it back from being a perfect movie for me. By the way, because I fucking checked, YMS gave this a perfect score.
Really?
Yeah. This movie doesn't get the perfect score for me because of the one thing that I said. There is about a half hour of this movie that you can skip every time if you've seen it once. Because you know the point of it. It doesn't hit the same way if you've seen it 10 times. So just you kind of sit there through it like, when it gets to those parts when you're showing somebody.
I think that's fair.
So
that's a good reason to not have perfect score.
I think it does what it means to perfectly.
It's weird that critics don't rate it high because critics love it when it critiques another genre because critics more or less look for things they haven't seen before.
They didn't like it because it was hostile towards its audience.
If anything,
it didn't want you to see the movie. It was saying like you're a bad person for seeing this movie.
I think a more general consumer would feel more offended by that than a critic.
Well, that's funny
I think
because
that's a little backwards.
That's a funny games. Because
like the Stanley Parable hates gamers. Or wait, is it that game or is it something else? It's like one of those like meta commentary games, like hates games and like doesn't want you to play it.
Talking about the beginner's guide.
No.
Okay.
'Cause I haven't heard of that.
That's by the same dude who did Stanley Parable, but it's like...
It might not be exactly Stanley Parable, but that's the one that comes to mind because I know I've heard something like that along those lines.
So,
and considering there's an achievement for not playing a Stanley Parable for 5 years.
Oh, you logged it.
Yeah, I just did.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say the people that I follow, Sardonicast gave it. Adam gave it 5, and then the other 2 gave it 4 out of 5. So they all liked it more than you.
That's fair.
And I liked it
claim
between.
To be a fucking big brain critic.
No. I
like taking stuff apart.
It's people's opinions, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, Donkey liked it more than you too.
Yeah, but Donkey also likes Last of Us 2.
You haven't played it. Okay, all right. All right, let's
Ooh.
By the way, I'm not like that game's a 10 out of 10, but we should have that talk someday.
Maybe.
We'll just play that on the channel or something. That'd be a long fucking series.
Oh Lord. Look at us talking about the channel again.
Look at us.
So, we talked about that for a minute.
We did, a long minute. I thought there would be a lot to say about that. Yeah. How fucking I feel like we're just like invalidating ourselves because at the end of our conversation I bring up what Sardonicast rated stuff.
No, you're just trying to be like, my opinion is the correct one.
My opinion,
Sardonicast is on my side.
The Ralph the Movie Maker gave this
Ralph the Movie Maker
a higher score than you did.
I'm part of my brain is like, huh, that's a silly name. Sky the Magic Guy. Oh
yeah. That's like the same thing.
At least mine rhymes.
Ralph the Movie Maker. Oh man. All right, let's
Scott the Magic Watt. I'm gonna have a second channel called that.
Let us. Oh no! I just thought of something I could wreck you, but you'd have to have quite some time for it.
Okay.
All right.
Let's move on to.
Wait. I need to. I have a timer to hit the button on. We talked about that for a long time. That's the longest we've talked about something.
Probably because I wanted to go like.
Yeah, I had a lot to say, and you dominated like the first half of it. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, because there was a lot to unpack.
All right, I'll probably
do that a little less with this next one.
Yeah.
Whiplash.
Let's do it. Whiplash. It's a song.
Yeah.
And a movie. And a song in a movie.
Well, actually, the song was made for the movie.
Oh.
So it's not an actual jazz big band piece.
I had no idea.
Same thing with the other piece in it, Caravan. The other ones are actual jazz jazz songs.
So did you want to dominate this one, or did you want me to start?
Well, like I said last week, to synopsis this movie, this is just about an underdog musician in a big, prestigious music school trying to become one of the greatest drummers. And I recently watched this too, to get a quick refresher. I haven't seen it in a while. And man, the experience hit just the same.
All right.
First time.
So I took notes in a traditional fashion again. These are different in person.
Did you want the comparison now or after?
Oh, you can give it to me after, I guess.
Okay.
If you remember. I hope you
I'll remember.
But hang on. Yeah, I took notes in a pretty traditional style. It is pretty different recording together on this couch and doing it over Discord because, as you can tell, or maybe it's just because you drank tonight, but you were going and going and going.
That's right.
Okay.
No, that was nothing. It was Mike's hard.
All right. I was just saying. So I don't know. I don't want to. I feel like there's a lot to say about this movie too. I just don't know if we'll get an hour and a half out of it.
Sure. I mean, that's fine. We don't need it to be an hour and a half to talk about it extensively.
Cool.
I don't think. But
I took notes,
yeah.
And I will give them whenever you're ready for me to.
Yeah. Well, first off, the movie starts in a really cool way because it starts off with the
That's my first note.
The slow hits that are like building faster and faster until it's a really fast single tap roll. And then it's just dark. And then as soon as it hits the rim shot, we're greeted with the main character
in the hallway.
Yeah,
At the end of the hallway.
the end of the hallway, played by Miles Teller.
Yes. Good that you took note of that.
Yeah.
I don't know who this was directed by.
I don't either.
Rip.
Cool. I'm gonna Google it.
All right. So actually, yeah.
You were introduced to the characters immediately.
What I had to, we were the two main characters, and what I had to say about that isn't really.
Damien Chazelle.
There we go.
Chazelle.
The director of Whiplash. Everybody. What I had to say about this opening sequence is not really here nor there, but I just wrote that it almost seemed like a dream sequence.
Interesting.
I don't know why. It's just because it felt like.
Oh, he directed La La Land as well.
I have not seen it.
I haven't either.
But it just felt kind of. It was abrupt. It happened.
Oh yeah, you just
you're right into it, and then it kind of cuts away from it, and he like the scene is that he sees him playing, and he's like, play this.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, Mr. Spider-Man's boss himself.
J. Jonah Jameson.
All the J's.
Yeah, and also now that we've done Portal, Caveman Johnson.
Right.
Cave Johnson.
Caveman.
Unga Dunga.
Yeah.
Lemons Unga Dunga.
I need to hear that again. I need to play Portal 2 now that I know it. But God, did you wake up the cat?
I think so. I'm sorry, Maeve. Go back to sleep.
No, I was just worried she was going to come over here and light on fire.
The candle's still up. Mic cable?
Maybe I should light on fire.
I think just to preface everything, J.K. Simmons is once again the perfect casting for this character.
Ooh,
which is he
was phenomenal.
A really uptight perfectionist music professor.
He was intense in this movie.
Oh, very, very intense. Just his whole performance is phenomenal.
I want to see him in more starring roles. Because I'm not saying he hasn't been in a ton, because maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. I just don't know.
Also, quick note, it's crazy, like, even though he's pretty old, he's really fucking fit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in that black t-shirt, just like...
Oh, yeah.
You see he'll fuck you up.
He's like a gym teacher.
Yeah, he's like crazy fit. And it just makes him even more intimidating. But yeah, so he just sees Miles Teller, Andrew Neiman, this is his name, and J.K. Simmons, Terrace Fletcher.
Yeah, I just referred to them by the actors' names mostly in here.
Okay, well, whatever you want to do. I just call them Neiman and Fletcher because they always call them by their last names.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just like, play a double time swing. That's his fucking fetish in this whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like you kind of get a taste for what's happening because Neiman is just kind of fucking around on the drum kit, like doing, trying to practice this crazy solo.
Scoobity boo bop.
And yeah, all that kind of stuff. And as soon as he walks in, he's intimidating, stop playing, and then he's just like, why'd you stop playing when I walked in?
Yeah, as soon as
And then he goes because he thinks that like, oh, like you didn't have to stop. And then he's just like, so you took me asking you why you stopped playing as a sign to start playing again.
Yeah, so he's immediately like a hard ass.
Yeah, like
piece of shit.
questioning his,
yeah. And the kid was fucking, I thought killing it too. So
I mean, I think he's meant to be a little rusty, like a little a little dirty, but he's a student, he's trying to get better.
I'm assuming
he's super overly ambitious.
Yeah, I'm assuming that actor, he reminded me of you actually. But
that's funny.
I'm assuming that, are you going to say that too?
No.
Okay. I assume that actor actually plays drums.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was actually playing.
All right. Yeah. Because it seemed like pretty legit. Like there would be no reason for them to have that dubbed over.
Really quick insight. This movie is kind of autobiographical with the director.
Really?
Because he went through some really tough music schools with a pain in the ass professor, and I think anybody who actually plays in a group that goes to school can experience something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just gonna say, I guess I just thought of something that ties these movies for me.
I mean, I was in the jazz band at GCC, and they were intimidating.
Really?
Just from how good they were. I mean, there was a whole bunch of ringers in that class. Yeah, so I mean, jazz itself, when you play with the band, is really, it's a lot about, jazz is weird already because it's like there are a whole bunch of rules for jazz, but there are no rules.
Mm-hmm.
It's really it's so that's what makes it super intimidating, which just all the more fitting for this movie.
Right. My next note wasn't all that relevant to much either. I was just taking some observations, I guess, at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote, I guess towards the beginning, I thought it was kind of funny when Fletcher was teaching his class, and then he looked through the window, and he was just like,
oh yeah, he was already looking at the
looking
window,
outside, like eyeing him through the fucking window.
like all Hannibal Lecter style, where he just knew he was there.
Yeah,
and
I thought
as soon
that
as he
was funny.
catches a glimpse, he just backs up.
He's
Back to the opening scene. When he hasn't played a double time swing, he just walks out of the door, just in the middle of his playing, and then he was just like, "Fuck, I blew it." And then the door opens up again. He's just like, "Forgot my coat."
Yeah. I had no idea what to make of that. I was like, I didn't know how hard of an ass this guy was going to be yet, but it turned out the hardest ass.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously exaggerated for the sake of the movie, but I think it's so perfect that it is.
No, yeah. The performance was...
Yeah, and he's like, this is the greatest music school in the country, based in New York.
Right.
With the greatest, professor,
which helped me about halfway through or whatever when it was said, because for a while one of the only like things that was like in the back of my mind was like, why would he put up with this? This is just some like bitter professor. You could just find another school. And then like they made that clear that this is like this thing that's really important to him, that it's this school.
Well, yeah, because he wants to be one of the greats. Yeah, he said that many times. He wants to be one of the greats.
Like no one ever was.
He stops. Yeah, he'll stop at nothing for that, and you kind of take some type of this bullshit at some point when you want to reach that high.
Some,
obviously not anywhere near like what this movie gets to, but
usually your teacher doesn't beat the shit out of you, but yeah.
Yeah, or hit you, or fucking hurl a chair at your head. And that's like was shown in the trailer too.
Mm-hmm.
So then in his class, and it's obviously really focused on drums. It's constantly at least two people around the kit. There's the core, and then the substitute.
Mm-hmm.
That's not too unlike what happens in jazz bands, like in a class setting. It was like that for me with piano,
mm-hmm.
where like I was subbing on some songs that like were fitting for my skill, and it's kind of it's an interesting position because for me at that time, there were a few other people who also were like trying to do piano for that jazz band too, and they went to one class and never saw them again. They were intimidated by it, and
the funny thing with me in music classes is I never enjoyed them.
Well, yeah, because you're that fucking music classes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I'm a musician, and like back then, I guess I wasn't really, but like just the way that the teachers were, they're always like a hard ass to a degree. And like that's like very unattractive in something as like full of expression as music to me. But that's like getting into real life, I guess. Yeah,
and I knew we were just going to talk about, so that's why it'll be interesting. But you're that whole punk rock, alt rock, type
mm-hmm.
of attitude about this.
Right, and like
where you just kind of get out there and form a small group where like other parts of the whole vast music world is like this one.
Right. I don't know. It's just it's like obviously that's not relevant to the movie. It's relevant to our lives. Like as musicians, it's like it's a thing of expression and not to me, and a lot of people. It's not about being like perfect and all this stuff. So
Yeah.
like this is what music classes are, and that is definitely expressed in the movie.
Yeah, I mean we've come from two different environments.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have to deal with that, and I came from music classes, and they're actually really fun. You know, you get to play with a larger group of people.
Yeah, I'm in college music classes, but nothing like this where it's like you have to get competitively good. You have to be you have to be amazing at what you're doing.
Well, it's just the character was trying to be competitive because he wanted to be the core. He was trying to fight, for the he had competition, which was the other drummers there.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess kind of getting ahead of it. But they did their homework with a lot of the music stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the terms too. Like I don't know if you picked up on any of that.
I mean, I figured every term they were using was a legit term.
There's a couple.
I had no reason to doubt it.
There's a couple that are like, you don't really say that, like how he claps for that. Like you don't really do that, or you don't really count off as 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, I thought he was just doing that to fuck with them, though.
Well, that's also like, see, this is why I want to talk about this, because it's interesting and nuanced. Because in jazz you get all these weird time signatures.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you do go all the way up to 8. And the movie actually like kind of shows that misunderstanding of the count off.
Yeah, he says 5, 6, 7, 8 a few times.
Yeah, and then he's like, and 4, damn it.
Yeah, the kid says it. He's like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like,
he's like, he's like, count me out of 2:15. And he's like 5, 6, 7, 8. He's like, and 4, damn it. So there's that, and also he starts, early in his count off than the teacher's count off, because it gets confusing on how to count off those weird time signatures. But otherwise, you don't really do 5, 6, 7, 8. That's like a dancer choreography thing. And like you all do with 4s. And I think, again, I'm not so versed in jazz anymore, but like with like the faster ones, you kind of just do halftime, and then like the faster ones, you like subdivide that. So it's like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that.
So as the
yeah, there's just a couple lines that I really that I really enjoy, like when he tells the I think it's like a horn section to put some sugar on it.
I didn't catch little things like that.
I enjoyed that as a nerd.
Yeah,
right before the competition, he tells them, "Don't forget to sharp the 9th."
Yeah,
where that's an easy thing to do when you're playing jazz, because chords get fucking stupid.
The things that you got out of it by relating it to your band experiences aren't things that I could take away from this.
Well, it adds to it for me. It adds because of my band experience.
Well,
and
that's
I enjoy
good.
it as
I was able to enjoy it as just an experience, as a film and as a story, I guess.
Well, it's like, yeah, I mean, I enjoy it for that too. It just deepens that enjoyment. When
I can't apply it. Yeah, I can't apply it as much to my life unless I wanted to relate the Fletcher character to some asshole boss or teacher that I've known, and I did have one like that, except he was just a substitute teacher that would fill in for whoever the fuck. So I kind of had a teacher like that, and the thing to note about him is everyone fucking hated him for like the longest time, and then like you reached a point where you were old enough to be like, you know what, when that guy's there, I learn.
Yeah, and I mean, again, to lastly wrap up the whole real life thing, in high school I was pretty much becoming the Fletcher.
Oh yeah, like, you told me that before.
Yeah, just being a hard ass, yelling at people. And again, it's not like these characters are like unrealistic either.
Yeah, no.
But, yeah, let's follow your notes here.
I think maybe him smacking the kids.
Oh yeah,
but beyond that,
I'm talking about like motivation.
Yeah. Yeah, so my notes were more from a story perspective, I'd say. But yeah, I wanted to say...
Yeah, I just wanted to get into the
I had that one
musicality part while it was there. It's just short.
Yeah, I had like a substitute teacher who had like a really short fuse, but you'd learn from him. And like his style of teaching was so old fashioned. You just come in and write a million things on the board and you just write everything down. But after you had like a 40-minute session with him, you were like, damn, I learned more than I do in the actual teachers here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's as far as that goes for me. I could only relate it to like a hard ass teacher I knew, who was very by the book. Onto the story. Yeah, these are more what's the word? Just anecdotal, I guess, like from the story as it goes. Not anecdotal, but just dumb things I wrote down. I wrote when he asks the girl out and she fucks with him.
Oh yeah,
I was like, oof,
dude. So like again, I watched this fresh out of high school the first time.
Yeah.
Afterwards, now I'm a big boy. I'm in my early 20s. Seeing you kind of you kind of view Neiman differently and how the romance plays out. And when she fucked with him, I felt that like really hard, like way more than I was just like,
she's like, get out of here.
Yeah, she was like, oh my god, get out, because it was funny when back for real life when you were when he asked her out. I remember your little line of wisdom where you're like, I never ask a girl out when they're working, because because it's like then you're just putting them in a bad spot. And then she was just like, oh my god, get out. And I'm just like, oh god.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's the worst nightmare. She's like, I was fucking with you. And I'm like, I was with Neiman there. I was just like, dude, that was mean.
Yeah, and then she was just fucking with him.
Yeah, it turns out she's really cool and just somehow likes him even though he's like super shy. But like, it's not like he doesn't have social skills. He's just got his mind on one thing only.
Sex. All right.
Yeah, his penis.
Yeah. And then,
beating the shit out of his penis.
Yeah, and then they just sit there and eat pizza, even though this town is full of monsters like J.K. Simmons.
Oh.
I had to make a Silent Hill reference.
Oh, yeah. I got that. Okay. I was just like, that was a joke, and I was trying to find it. I was like,
you'll get there.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I know I got there. Yeah, that pizza scene, at first, it's a mix of... I think that's why Miles Teller was like in so many romance movies, because he's got a real awkward but like kind of boyish demeanor to him. And it's like, the state's kind of awkward, but at the same time they're talking at least, and there's something there, I guess.
Yeah, that sums it up. There's something there, I guess.
There's something there, I guess. It's kind of like more realistic than like them hitting it off immediately.
Oh.
May's here. Now she's licking me and biting me.
Yeah, she came onto the couch.
Oh, hello.
You're the only other one she bites so far. Okay.
It's okay. She knows I can take it. Oh, yeah. She's purring. Her whole body's vibrating.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
She loves to.
Okay, May break over. No, you get back here.
You're
mine forever.
I mean, my notes skip a lot. I just took note of things I thought were cool or funny. He makes an appointment with Simmons to hear him play at 6 a.m.
Oh yeah, he's in his normal band class, and then Fletcher shows up to see what's going on, and then he kind of like picks apart the whole band, and he's a really not likable character. Like he's misogynistic
throughout,
too.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, but it's also a really fucked up line where it's just like, all right, so he talks to this one girl that's playing saxophone first chair, and he's like, all right, let's just see if you're in first chair because you're good or it's because you're cute. And she plays like one note. It's just like, yep, because you're cute.
Rip.
Yeah. And it's also really homophobic too.
Yeah, there is a lot of that.
And then he's just like, and then he hears the drummers, and then he tells Neiman like, see me in my classroom at 6 a.m. Don't be late.
Yeah, and then he wakes up at 6:03.
Yeah, he wakes up late and he hauls ass down there like, classic New York style.
I was just like, he done fucked up.
Oh yeah,
that was like a nitpick.
Here's the first part where it's just, at least for me, where I was just like, oh shit, you feel what the character's feeling.
I had a like little nitpick there where I was like, you'd think he would have set an alarm, like.
Yeah.
I mean, Andy naturally woke up at 6:03, which who the fuck does that? But, yeah, and then this note's relevant to that because then he goes there, the guy doesn't show up, and then the teacher shows up, he hangs out there till 9, and the second it hits 9 for band practice,
Oh no! Everybody walks in early, and then as soon as it hits 9, Fletcher walks in.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
On the dot.
As soon as it hits 9, Fletcher walks in, which implies that he showed up at 6, and then he just fucked off because he wasn't there yet. Because Neiman wasn't there yet. That's what I got out of that.
I didn't take that. I took that as like he wanted to kind of like fuck with Neiman and make sure that like he was determined for it. So that's why I had him show up there early. I just kind of wrote it off as like, yeah, this guy's a dick. No, I want to put it past him to do something like that.
All right.
If he saw he wasn't there and fucked off, he would probably just throw Neiman out immediately.
I took that as that he did show up at 6, and then when he wasn't there, he just fucking left Neiman in suspense. And then, but I don't know. It made sense to me for his character that he would have never mentioned it and just kind of treated him like shit about it. So I don't know.
I think that's fair. I'm just saying like how.
I'm not saying something's right or wrong. It wasn't explicitly said in the movie, but that's what I took from the fact that he showed up on the dot. I was like, okay, so he probably showed up at 6, but we know Neiman was late.
I usually just took him showing
the opportunity
up on the dot as like a sign of like, he's really proper and anal about stuff and very by the book about stuff.
Right.
And yeah, he just acknowledges the class like, we have a squeaker here. Calls an email squeaker. And the anal like that was it, and then they just immediately start to playing. Yeah, and then
the scene where he throws the chair at him.
Oh yeah, well yeah, it turns into that.
It does.
The nitpick I have, then the actual core drummer shows up. Of course, he treats him like shit because he's just a page turner. The part that I nitpick is that he told Neiman to tune the drum set into a B flat. And it's like you're like, since when do you ever tune a drum set unless you break a head?
I mean, you can tune, but not to like a note like that.
I mean, you can.
That I know of.
No, you can, but it's just like,
why?
Not really noticeable. And it's just like, you don't ever have to tune drum heads unless you fucking break them or replace
I would
them.
like specific sound, really, but
yeah. So that's just another nitpick, and I guess it's just kind of showing like trying to make it more technical for general audiences. But yeah, so they start playing. They play the. Do they immediately start off with Whiplash?
I don't remember.
I think so.
I didn't write that down.
I think they started off with it. Which, by the way, fucking banging tune. I know you're not huge on big band, but
I don't really remember how it went. I just remember that. Yeah, I just remember the drum beat was like stupid hard and no one could do it through the whole movie, which was the point.
Oh no, that was the Caravan, the double time swing at 300 BPM.
Yeah,
that's how fast that's
what I mean.
You should see. I'm gonna show you drum covers for both of those songs that someone did, and that fucking song is so weird.
Oh, I bet.
It's like the kick drum does like quarter note triplets, and it's just some shit like that. I just did the punk beat because that's all I know how to do. I need to like kind of get back into that song, but yeah, I mean, I'm surprised you're not huge on big band stuff. All the movies I've been showing you have been those soundtracks, like Blues Brothers.
Yeah, I don't not like it, but I wouldn't listen to it or go out of my way to like see it. Really,
I don't know. I think the soundtrack in this is phenomenal. If you really pay attention and just listen to. To
me, it's like it's what the music was a big part of the movie, but
well, then at least you can appreciate the drumming at the very least.
Well, yeah, of course. That it's just a stylistic thing. It's not like I don't appreciate the soundtrack or the effort that went into any of the like. It's absolutely for the tone of the film.
Yeah, and it fits it, and like.
Oh yeah, because that's what the kind of stuff you learn in those classes. The jazz band,
like doing that. Well, the soundtrack is so immensely good and clean, and like that's kind of reflective of like Fletcher, pretty much.
Yeah,
and that's honestly how the GCC jazz band was like. For community college, they were a kick-ass jazz band.
Yeah, and that's what you learn in school. You you join the jazz band and you play stuff like that. So
Yeah.
like it's
And like, you know, he gets anal about it, and you kind of like get, you know, a taste of what's to come, like at Fletcher when he says, he's like, I'm afraid to point this out, but we have an out of tune player, which, by the way, like that's the other thing that's not really realistic. You won't really hear that even just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He did take it section by section to see who it was, but like in a whole big band setting, you're not going to fucking notice unless, even if you have perfect pitch, you can be like, something sounds a little off.
Mm-hmm. But
I guess you'd have to have perfect pitch.
Yeah.
So he might. I don't know.
I like the point the scene made, but like again, I don't know. I feel like it's really hard to see Fletcher and be like, he's a genius instead of he's a dickhead. Like so like
well, he's both.
Yeah,
you know?
the point he was making of like it was actually you who was out of tune, but we got rid of him because he didn't know, and that's worse.
And that's just as bad. You
that's
know?
like Wire, but like also,
Wire,
but also it's like you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, it's just like you really just like, you know, verbally abuse the student just for, you know, where he probably shouldn't have been in the band in the first place if he wasn't that confident of a player.
Yeah, he was just not confident.
Oh yeah, when he was crying, I mean, some of the shit that he says is just like so awful, but it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and when like the guy's like starting to cry, you know, one of the trombone players, and he's like, "Well, there's no fucking Mars bar down there. What are you looking at?" Just like I can't have someone who's fucking thinking about Happy Meals because, you know, he's a bit fucking big.
Oh yeah, they absolutely wrote him to just go for the gusto.
Yeah,
all the time. What I have? Oh yeah, so when he throws the fucking chair at him and screams at him. That's the first time I was like, shit.
Yeah, because
he scared me.
Well, yeah, because
he's a fucking beast.
He tried having Neiman play at slower tempo, same song, and you know, he's a little off tempo, not quite my tempo.
Yeah.
And then when this movie came out, the people who saw it in band would constantly be saying that, not quite my tempo.
The whole thing about him not being on tempo, like every time he corrected him, I didn't notice anything wrong. So I was just like, oh, okay.
It honestly could be a placebo.
I was like, I couldn't tell if there was actually something he was doing wrong.
I thought it was a little bit, like barely, like a couple BPM.
It felt like, it felt like it could just be placebo. So I didn't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I can't say the thing I was thinking without sounding pretentious.
Go for it,
I was just gonna say, like, you kind of would like, you got to train your ear for that being in band, but like at the same time, even if it's a little bit off, you don't really notice. And if the drummer is even a little bit off, everyone else follows him anyway. But you know, this is a whole, you know, big old anal proper jazz band. So then, like, the whole next how many minutes, like 15, 20 minutes of him being like, "Were you rushing or were you dragging?"
Oh yeah,
yeah, and then he hurls a chair at him because he loses patience, and he's like, "Why do you suppose I just hurled a chair at your head, Neiman?"
Yeah, and
he's just like, I don't know," and then he just fucking rushes him, and yeah, that's when
he was scary.
That's where he gets really scary because he just yells at him,
and
then he's like, "If you were purposely sabotaging my band, I will fuck you like a pig." You're just like,
yeah, I was
Jesus.
just like, at some point I took the note I took. Imagine if this movie just led up to him killing that kid. I'm like, it would be a totally different movie.
Or just the movie ends like he gets hit with the chair and.
No, I just thought that'd be hilarious if this movie just like, oh, where's it going? It's an underdog story. It's gonna be a redemption arc, and then he just like fucking pisses him off so much he kills him and buries him at the end. It's so fucked up.
It becomes a horror movie.
I just thought that'd be hilarious. But.
Yeah, and then there's the part that Mo was complaining about in the trailer where he's like, "Count me out of 215," like we were talking about earlier.
I didn't even note that, but yeah.
But actually, you won't really be able to do that. You can get close, but like, you know, you can't really expect any musician to do that.
Yeah.
Even
not perfectly.
professional players, you'll be like, I don't fucking know. Give me a metronome. I can keep that time, but just immediately going there, I can get in that ballpark. But what's interesting to note is that Neiman actually is like on 215 BPM if you like tap along on a metronome with him. So, or like
Yeah,
he's
I didn't
at
try
least
that or
really
anything.
close.
I don't know. I guess this was shortly after that.
Yeah, then he starts slapping him, and he's just like, "Now, was I rushing or was I dragging?" And he's just like,
Oh yeah.
"I don't know." And he's just like, "Fine, I'll do it again."
That was that scene. Yeah. Okay. That's why I was
And he's
like.
just like, yeah, it's just like,
He's
was I rushing
scary.
or was I dragging? Rushing is like, so you do know the difference.
That's even worse. Yeah. He's fucking.
Like, I don't know what's worse if you actually do know the difference or purposely sabotaging my band or whatever.
That's when he got
And
scary.
he's just like, now were you rushing or now are you a rusher or are you a dragger?
Yeah, and up until that point, you know that he's an asshole, but you don't know the extent.
Yeah, and he makes him like say to like everyone in the band that he's upset, like humiliating.
Yeah, just to like call him a bitch.
Oh yeah, and right before that, when they take the break, he's talking to him nonchalantly,
Yeah,
just
and,
like asking him like, oh yeah, what do your parents do? And then he later uses that to insult him,
yeah,
like
and
how he has no musicians in the family.
somewhere around there, or maybe it's later, he brings up that story of the fucking guy who got the cymbal thrown at him. The musician.
Yeah, Charlie Parker.
Yeah,
Charlie Parker Red.
which is okay. Which is reincorporated a few times in the movie.
Yeah, and the movie does constantly like mention Buddy Rich as one of the greater drummers, but it's like that's just kind of the household name. There's a lot better jazz drummers than Buddy Rich. It's just kind of like the one that stuck.
Yeah.
You know, it's the one that everybody knows. It's like the whole Houdini thing with magic. It's just like, I mean, he wasn't honestly really that good. There's like a whole mess of different ones, but it's the one that everybody knows, so just use it. And also, what's funny to note is that Buddy Rich in real life was a lot like Fletcher.
Yeah.
No one liked working with him, and he would verbally abuse his band all the time.
Ugh.
Yeah. It was pretty dicey.
My next note was that he has this. I thought it was funny when he had like the soft spot for the kid. Then he just walks in the room. All right, cocksuckers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He's talking with the little kid, and he's just like, "Yeah, you're gonna play piano for me in my school when you're all grown up." All right, cool. Like, and then
All right, cocksuckers.
listen up, cocksuckers, in the J.K. Simmons voice. Just, it's so good, but like so scary.
Was trying to figure out. Oh yeah, okay. I was as I was going, I was trying to think of like where this was headed. So I was trying to figure out if the kid was like gonna stand up to the teacher by the end or not. And like after halfway through, I figured he's going to. When Simmons tells him like if he wants the part, then to earn it, because
Right.
that's when that's the first time Neiman kind of goes in there and is like, "Hey, what the fuck?" And then he's just like, "Don't do this to me right now."
He's like, "Not right now," you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, he's gonna
because
he's gonna stand up to him at some point."
Yeah, because what happened was, this is all prepping for a competition,
Mhm.
and the core drummer gives the folder to Neiman, and he loses it, and he tries like putting it on Neiman, but he's like, why'd you give him the fucking folder? It's your responsibility.
Mhm.
He's like, if you give something to an ape, of course you're gonna fuck it up or something. So he throws him out of the band. And then Neiman's the new core drummer, and then later you get that dinner scene with the family, which is kind of tough. It really makes you empathize for Neiman.
Yeah, because everyone's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean that's pretty much what it's like when you don't have when you're the only musician in the family,
When
or
you
like,
want to do the music,
or the only
Well,
artist, not just music.
if your family doesn't support it, but also I was gonna be like, how do you know? Because your family's full of musicians.
Well, not full. I mean, it's my mom and dad, and that's
Yeah.
about it. You know?
Well, that's what I meant. That's pretty much as far as I think of my family.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just know, like, I've, being in bands with, other peers, you see that, where parents just, they don't really get it. They're just like, yeah, but you want to be here, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or like, why don't you do a sport ball or something? It's like
Sport ball.
yeah, and every kid kind of goes through that with video games, you know, or
Yeah.
like watching too much TV or whatever.
Or doing a podcast.
Yeah, doing a podcast, something stupid. So I mean, it's really tough because you know he's talking about he doesn't really have the support of his family, and then like in comes in one of his siblings, who plays football, and everybody's asking him about that and showing interest, and Demon kind of tries to knock him down a notch, and he's just like, yeah, right at the very end, he's just like, four words you will never hear from the NFL, and then his own father is just like, yeah, have you heard back from I forgot what that place was called. Like the
No
big
idea.
the big music place that you get invited to.
I don't know.
It's basically like the NFL of music.
Mm-hmm.
In the movie, I don't fucking know. We'll see the Philharmonic Orchestra or something for just as a placeholder. But his own fucking father asked that, and then he just gets up and leaves, and that's like, damn, that's hard. So you really kind of like get a feel for all the shit that Neiman has to go through.
Rip though.
Yeah, so that really sucks. That's where you get the feel of it. I don't know. I think this whole movie is kind of, even though it's exaggerated, it's kind of grounded in reality.
It's emotionally
Like
grounded.
these people can exist and they can be going through all the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't remember where we were. Oh yeah, then he gets pretty quickly replaced with another core drummer that can do a double time swing better than him.
Oh yeah, but hang on, what did I have? I had that the kid reminds me of you. Yeah, because that's when he started like taking it really like hard on himself, and he was like making his hands bleed and stuff, and he was like, he like broke up with his girl, I think, and all this stuff where he just like was so committed to his craft, and I was like, not necessarily the you that I knew, but just like the you that you described yourself as when you were younger, and like in band and stuff.
Yeah. The thing is, though, that's the other part that I'm not really huge on with this movie is the whole bleeding part.
Yeah.
As a drummer, you shouldn't
Wow.
really be bleeding or hurt because that means you're just way too tense. Especially for, you know, if you're trying to do a swing, you have to diddle the stick, which means you have to be really relaxed.
Yeah, I was like, didn't you used to bleed on your keys though?
Yeah, but that was
That's
because of, you know, the going up motion,
Yeah.
which would, you know,
Fuck you,
wear down
Knuckle.
my cuticles a bit. Now with the
Knuckle.
pads of my fingers, I don't think it's physically possible to
Yeah.
make yourself bleed on that for a piano. But
Right.
the rule of thumb is, other than that, is if you bleed playing an instrument or if it hurts, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, I don't know what the rule for like bass or guitar would be because you can.
Well, have you ever
I can see
bled
that
on playing on
happening.
guitar?
I can see that happen. Not to me, but like someone who's like totally fucking riffing for hours or some shit.
Yeah, but usually,
You just get calluses.
yeah, you get calluses that toughen up your hands, you know, and putting Band-Aids on them is actually what softens them up and makes them pop open.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
I said I'm glad that this movie shows the toll.
Oh yeah, the
the
bleeding
toll
is just,
having this teacher takes on his mental health
yeah, that's yeah, I agree.
with breaking up with his girlfriend and punching his drum set and screaming. And I feel like a lot of movies
It's really
don't do that. Like a lot of these types of movies that take this angle try and tell this type of story.
it's
Like,
really
they're
emotional.
just like they're just like that kid puts up with everything and he just like comes out on top at the end. But like realistically, like
it fucking weighs on you.
it's gonna fuck that kid up, and it did fuck
Like it's
a
not
kid up.
it's not just the teacher either. It's your own you know, what you're telling yourself and what you think of yourself too.
And there was that
because-
former student who'd committed suicide.
Yeah, and like just to quickly wrap that up, it's like you know, when you're at that stage, you're kind of on this, and I think most other artists can agree, like, you know, at some point you're going to feel like you're climbing this endless staircase that you're never going to be quite where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much
It's
what
depression.
is shown with Neiman, where he's like constantly trying, but he's kind of forcing it, you know? And
Yeah.
also with the whole blood thing, I do recognize that it's for dramatic effect. I'm just comparing the whole realism and all that. And then one of the students kills himself, but Fletcher,
which turns into
Fletcher just lies to the band saying that he died in a car accident.
Yeah, which that whole thing kind of turned into unexpected turn for me. Like I didn't expect they're gonna sue him, but like that's kind of not sue him, but like they got him fired.
Yeah, report him. Because because I think Neiman ended up getting the part, and there were 3 drummers at that point, and they were all trying to do that one beat, for hours and hours, and they're all sweating and panting and everything, and that's the other part where Fletcher's. I think that's the part where Fletcher I think is at his most intense.
Yeah,
because he's just constantly yelling at them, and he's just like, one of them adjusts the chair. She's like, "Oh, the fucking stool is your problem." And so now you're gonna play it perfectly. We're gonna get perfect 400s now. Yeah,
and since we're on that scene, that was where the first time that the Connolly, that drummer, couldn't do it. Yeah, he was like not quite right, Connolly, and I love how it just showed the main character and like he did a little Zuck smile.
Yeah, little smug, just ooh.
He just did a little Zuck, and that's exactly. I thought of Zuckerberg, and I had to write it down.
That's funny. But then Neiman ends up actually like doing it, and it's also intense because he's screaming at him faster, and he's like constantly throwing shit around to like intimidate him. And then when he's finally done, tells him to stop. He's just like, "All right, you are in the part, Neiman." And he's just like, "Okay, we can start now."
Right.
And then the jumps to the competition. The bus breaks down that Neiman is on. Then he needs to go rent the car, and then in a frantic frenzy, he leaves the book behind.
Right.
He was already late at that point. It was like 5 minutes late.
Actually, I guess this would be first. Yeah, he gets in a car crash, and I was like, car crash. Whiplash.
Yep.
Oh, wire.
Yeah, I'm glad you caught that.
That's what my note was right there.
I'm glad you caught that.
That's literally my note.
Yeah, because he gets T-boned by a fucking truck, by a semi.
Yep.
And like he's going frantically because he was late. Fletcher gave the part to one of the other drummers. And he was like, "That's mine. I earned it." And he's finally standing up to the teacher a bit. He's just like,
"It's great when he stands up for himself."
And he's like, "It's actually my part, and I'll give it to whoever the fuck I want." And he's just like, "Don't test me. I will fucking throw you out of this band." And he's like, "I'll be here. Just tell him I'll be here." And then like he told him that he just left the car, and he's like, beelining it there. And then he shows up all bloodied, from the car crash. He just leaves the scene. And all the adrenaline starts to wear off, and here I think is the hardest scene to watch because during the song he's like dropping the sticks and fumbling.
Yeah,
and then like after he picks up the stick, he looks up and Fletcher's just there, and just like looking at him.
It's pretty heavy.
Yeah, and then they end up just stopping, and that's just like, ooh, it's just kind of cringe and just tough.
Right.
And then.
Oh, I was just laughing at my last note, but I actually had a question. When the case was happening, when they were trying to get all the evidence or trying to get Neiman to like go on with being against I wanted to say Zuck. With being against Simmons.
Yeah.
I forgot his character name again, but he was watching. This isn't really that relevant. I just wanted to know. There was one point where he was like watching the video of like the kid drumming, the little kid.
Oh yeah.
Was that him or was that the kid who killed himself that he was watching?
It's supposed to be him. Like he was looking back on his old video.
Okay, I didn't know. Like
I hate that. Was like that's my least favorite part of the whole movie because
it just kind of focuses on the case a bit.
Well, no, the kid is just like, "Dad, look at me play a paradiddle," and he doesn't play a paradiddle. He just
that seems a little out of place for this movie.
What the fuck? Yeah, it's just like you got all your homework done and then you just do this. I mean, maybe because they're stupid, but whatever.
And then
I was just waiting for you to mention that Andrew fucking tackles him. Like in front of everybody at the competition, like he bursts through. And
I didn't take a note on that, but
yeah, obviously it gets him expelled. But then, the group reaches out to Andrew to speak up against Simmons.
The
and
teacher,
gets him fired.
and then to skip ahead a bit, I guess he finds him at that, performing in public as part of a band one night, and then
on piano. And
they meet up, and they just.
Funny thing to note too.
I thought it'd be hilarious if it was just like, the secret was the whole time that he's a bitch because he can't play music.
Yeah,
that would have been hilarious.
I mean, I was gonna say like the piano part. I didn't think was really good.
Oh no!
I thought it was just like.
Was he actually playing it?
I think so.
Okay, because I didn't realize. I thought he was, but I couldn't tell if it ever showed his face and his hands at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm pretty sure he did, but it's just like the solo he was doing was just like kind of just generic and just in terms of jazz, I guess.
I thought it was fine, but
it's
I don't know.
fine.
I'm
But
not
it's
a
just
piano
like
player.
I don't know. He was just kind of going up and down. The scale.
You would think they would have him show off a bit more for how he acted the whole movie.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. But then you kind of just see him just fucking around with the black keys. And I'm just like, oh, okay. He's not even that good of a pianist, but sure. Then he sees Neiman in the bar, and then they end up just talking. And you get some development with Fletcher, where he was just like, he was just trying to make. He was like, I never had my Charlie Parker, never had. I never had that student. I was trying to push people, and
I thought we'd get more development on why he is the way he is.
But that wasn't pretty much what you get.
That wasn't really enough for me. But then again, I don't know. It could have gone the route of being like really cliche.
I think it was realistic and like you don't need his whole backstory.
Yeah, it could have just
more or less his philosophy, and Neiman's just kind of listening in. Listening to him.
I think less may have overall been more here, but it is a little. He kind of does leave you a little bit like, oh, so he's just kind of an asshole.
Yeah, but it's just like
he just really wanted to create the next great guy.
Yeah, he was just like he gets into it, and you kind of see things from his perspective because negative reinforcement is an actual thing. It just doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah, which was my my thing with the movie. I was like, wait, is that how they're gonna wrap this up?
The reason why I was like becoming that was because it worked for me, like however long ago.
Yeah, exactly.
At the time, now it probably wouldn't. I would
But that's the thing. Like, I thought the point this movie was gonna try and drive home, like its theme and message was gonna be like, yeah, it's good to have this guy in your life.
No, but it's like you get it, but like no, because like it's just too exaggerated because he makes a point where it's just like you think Charlie Parker would have became Charlie Parker if he threw a symbol at his head, which by the way, that story is also exaggerated.
Yeah,
it's something.
I don't know the story, but I figured
he got thrown something at him, but he didn't nearly decapitate him. It wasn't a symbol either. Mm-hmm. But he was like, you think. And he went home and cried, but you know what? He got to stick some practice again. He wouldn't have become one of the greats if that didn't happen. It was just like, Charlie, good. You did fine. Good job. And it was just like, there's no more harmful words in this world than good job.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, yeah, obviously I disagree with that. Yeah. But you get at least a peek into his mindset and his mentality.
Yeah.
And after all that, he
I just don't know if the goal was to justify him there or not, because like I didn't feel like, oh my god,
I don't think it wanted.
He's a genius.
I don't think it wanted to justify it. It wanted to like give you a peek of why he thinks like this.
Yeah,
which gives him more depth.
And
on a rewatch, you can keep that in mind.
And he was still an asshole up until the very end.
Yep,
because. He still uses the thing at the end to Mo just walked out here, distract me a little.
All T-Rex like.
We're all out of water. No. Yeah, right up until the very end, it seems like they're gonna learn and get along now. And
after his whole kind of talk, he says to Neiman like, yeah, so me and a few guys, we have a band going. We could use a drummer. But the drummer we have isn't really working out. And then, jump to there. He calls his then ex, like, apologizing for how he acted. Which, by the way, that breakup scene.
Yeah, no.
We didn't even talk about the breakup scene.
Yeah, I wanted to fucking talk about this because I was like, that was my last note. It made me laugh. Reading my last note, I was like, when he called the girl towards the end and she said she has a boyfriend, I thought he was gonna throw a symbol at her.
Okay.
For some reason, I was just like, oh, he's gonna throw a symbol at her.
Yeah, the whole breakup scene, like, at first, I was just like, yeah, he even had his reasons, and now I'm just like, get your head out of your ass, dude. She's still here for you.
Yeah, he was being a jackass.
It seemed like she really supported him, but he was just like, no, I need to go this on my own.
Yeah, he was being a jerk.
I think he realized it at the end where he was just like, I was kind of, He
was like, I don't want to be a fucking whatever.
Well, I think he realized that he was too much, like he jumped to conclusions.
Yeah.
But I think he realized that he missed that chance, and I think he learned from it just internally. You never see that because when he calls her, he's just like, I don't know, my boyfriend doesn't really like jazz, but I can ask. And it's just like, oh, well, I'm just like, damn, dude, that sucks.
Ultimately, I decided that the theme wasn't about like, you need this kind of person to make progress. It's a good thing. Like, because that's what I thought maybe was trying to give me to take away. And I was like, I don't know about like, but that would be fair because like, if that was the point, that's the connection I would make with funny games where I didn't necessarily agree with what the director was telling me. But I don't think that's the point. I think because of how it ends with Neiman, I think it says that you don't need to be a fucking asshole. Like you can find the determination and strength within you, your own motivation, and like you don't have to be an asshole. He fucking he called his ex and was like, I was an asshole. He forgave the teacher and like all this stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He was still very much his own person. He didn't have to become an asshole. If anything, like he had growth, but he was still the same like good-hearted dude from the beginning. And as we all know, it ends with him coming out on top.
Yeah, I mean, I don't fully think that you needed that you thought that was the message. I'll have more for closing thoughts, but we're pretty much at the end anyway. So it just immediately jumps to that little show that they're putting on. And then, Neiman's there, he's good, he's feeling good, he's in a new band, he feels welcomed. And like right before they start, and this part will send chills down my cock. Every time I watch this movie, he just walks up to him and he's just like, you think I'm fucking stupid? And he's just like, you get that confusion, and he's just like, I know it was you.
Yeah, but I thought he was just forgiving him.
No, I was just like, even when I first saw it, I was just like, oh shit. And I think that's what you get with Neiman. And then like he says like, so we're gonna start off middle class today, and just names a whole other son that he didn't know.
Yeah, which I was like, oh, he's still an asshole. He didn't let go of it. No, I thought he was. I thought
was like, first watching, I was like, this is my literal worst nightmare.
I thought he was just actually growing, the teacher. Like I thought Fletcher actually like had a moment of growth where he's like, I know you did it, and then like he was going to, because he remained static through the whole movie. His character was static.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe he was just like, it was a forgiveness thing and he was going to just play with him. But nope.
I guess your expectations got way subverted. Because, nope, he just had the whole band play a different song that he didn't know.
Right.
And that was, again, the other part that was really, really tough. Really tough to see. And then, of course, he runs off stage, Yeah,
he ran off all upset, but then he fucking came back.
And then he came back.
With a vengeance.
Yeah, and then he just kind of saw him, and then as soon as he starts talking, he just
we're going to play a slow...
he interrupts him with the beat for Caravan.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, everyone's just like, what are you fucking doing? Like the bassist, he's just like, I'll cue you in. And everyone's just like, okay. And then they just all play Caravan at the very end, and...
he's like, we're gonna play a slow song, and then he just boom back. Yeah. That's pretty great.
Yeah, and then you get the whole song along with an added 20-minute drum solo from him. And yeah, at first Fletcher is just kind of like, okay, fine, I'll like do this, and then
do your moment.
And then he sees like how well he's actually performing, and he even gets into it, like cueing the bands and everything. Yeah,
he's like, hell yeah.
And so that was fun to see. And then like as soon as he starts doing his drum solo, he's just like, no, I'm not fucking finished.
Goes for 10 minutes.
Yeah, and then he walks up, and then I think it's the line that you see Fletcher actually like have like that revelation where he's just like, Andrew, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, he's like, I made
it. Like, wow, he didn't call him Neiman, and he just called him man too.
He finally thinks that he made his hero musician.
Yeah, I think he saw that, and I think because like with Fletcher's whole character, I thought like, for doing this so long, you kind of just become like, almost jaded to it, where it's just like, yeah, I'm never gonna find it. You kind of become like a senile old man just about this.
So
then obviously, and then like he hits the crash too hard, and like he actually fixes it for him, and he actually like you see a glimpse of like if he was actually like going to be a helpful like mentor to him, like he even like helps him like slow down that snare roll, like right at the beginning of the movie where it's just all quiet, and then like build it back up, and like that fucking face on him, so good, such good facial reaction. And then expression, I mean.
Yeah, obviously, then when the song ends, the movie ends, and that's it.
Yeah, and then it's just, it just ends on, boom. Yeah, just the last crazy fill and the last note.
I want to know
after a shot of them making eye contact, and then that's it.
I want to know then what you thought the message was.
Well, first of all, watching it again, man, was I just like, fuck, I wanted more from that. Like, what? I need an epilogue. But so I guess it's just kind of about this small event in Andrew's life. And even I think the actor said that he had experience with this too.
I don't believe
like, the mentor.
That this movie would have been made if it wasn't saying anything. If it was just telling a story.
I took it as the story.
Well, I know it's a story, but that's if this is an autobiographical thing, there's a reason the director would have wanted to share that.
Right.
So
I think it just it has to do with like if you really want something, it's kind of an experiment of like how far are you really willing to go, and what kind of determination is that, and like what does that mean for you? Like where do you go from here? And like everyone our age and younger kind of has that type of feeling, especially our artists in particular. Where it's just like how far do you want to take this, and where's the next step from here? It's like all kind of, you don't know, but you need to put in a lot of work for it.
Yeah, and for me, that's what it speaks to.
And with the family, like not everybody gets it, and that's one of the toughest parts. I had to deal with people, talking about that with like my magic stuff, where they would because I would be, essentially playing with cards and coins the whole time, they just took that as like, you're not working as hard as us because, you're not on that minimum wage grind. Well, I can fucking tell you, now that I've been on a minimum wage grind, you could take your minimum wage and shove it up your ass. Fuck you. That takes way more work than working an 8-hour shift. It sucks. It drains the life out of you. And that's how it's hard, but like, don't discredit musicians or any artists. They put the work in, even more so than other people.
I don't, but
yeah, I mean, some, give or take, some of us are washed up.
I'm naturally good.
I mean,
Bo Burnham.
Yeah, I figured. It's just. I don't know, man. Like with most of the cases where they're actually, like Andrew, they're putting in so much work, and it would just go unnoticed because music to those people it's just kind of like it just fills in time. They don't really have to think about what goes into playing an instrument.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and just because it's not a physical act, like, you know, sport ball.
I love how you're calling it that.
Sport ball. like sport ball, like you think it's not as it's not as valid for some reason, but you literally see that raw emotion from Andrew, and I think both the lead performances are just phenomenal in this.
Yeah.
You know, you literally see him bleeding, and
I agree.
You know, taking, you know, hits in every way, and he comes out on top, and that's really just he persevered through it, and I think that's what it's about. It's really like, you know, I need an excuse to talk about Dark Souls, but it's about overcoming all that challenges that is also set in front of you, and also that you have to overcome from yourself.
Right. And I think it speaks to that.
And
you can accomplish those goals.
Fletcher's one scary ass Dark Souls boss.
And yeah, I don't know. I don't think you're giving enough credit for the arc that he goes through, because I do think he learns that you don't have to be a certain way. Like, he actually learns that you don't have to be an asshole. He calls up his girlfriend. He's like, I was an asshole. and fucking Fletcher's character, his vindication is that his student is great. But meanwhile, his character remains static.
Well, yeah, and I think that's why it plays into kind of life, because some people just won't go through an arc, or like at least anything small where it would take a lot of time for those people. And with Fletcher, if he's been doing this for as long as he has, you know, he's kind of, you know, lost, you know, that hope or care that he'll have that prodigy student.
Mm-hmm.
And it will just kind of sink into his ego, where he just lashes out at other people for it, because it's his own frustration,
right?
That he doesn't have that. And it's the same thing with Andrew, but he's lashing out at himself for not being better.
Right.
There comes a point where, like, you know, if you're not improving at the rate you think you are, you start to blame yourself for it, which is one of the biggest struggles for performers and musicians. You know, you can plateau a little bit and, you know, become almost stagnant. So I guess that is also what the movie is trying to show. Oh, there's a lot that you can take out of it when you really think about it and put it to parallel with real life and your whole philosophy with all that.
I agree. And yeah, I think Fletcher was just, something that he had to overcome and learn to persevere with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just thinking about that whole line of you know, don't give up. at the very least, that's what you take out of it. You know, however hard it is, you know, you can make it through.
Good talk. Do you have final thoughts, or were those them?
Those are pretty much it, I guess. To close, I think this movie represents the quote I have on my Steam profile that I want to share.
Monica?
No, not about Monica. Yeah, well, yeah, no, it is Monica. It is the Monica quote.
Okay.
It is. I forgot it was Monica who says it. And I think it's in the mod. I don't know if she says it in the canon game. I think she does. I don't know. But
so it's just some dude who made it up?
No. It is from an actual person. I think it's from like some writer. Not really known, but the quote is known, but the person isn't, which is kind of sad. If you endeavor to achieve, it will happen. Give enough resolve. It may not be immediate, and often your greater dreams are something you will not achieve in your own lifetime. The effort you put forth into anything transcends yourself, for there is no futility even in death.
There.
That's pretty much
final thought.
That's everything that I said, just in fancier words. You can do it if you put enough elbow grease in it, and even if they don't happen, the effort doesn't go unnoticed.
And every podcast is almost 3 hours now.
God damn it. I'm sorry. I like to talk.
Yeah, you had a lot to say tonight. I felt like you had less to say over the or on the Discord sessions.
Maybe because I didn't want my shitty audio to be too much
front and center.
Yeah, and I think this couch is just how we get to rambling.
Yeah, I mean this is longer than an older one. Maybe it's just because we're back together in person.
I've had to pee this entire time.
Wow.
Really bad.
Well, you'll get there.
That's my closing thought. Anywho, do you have a closing thought, or are we gonna rank it?
I don't have a clue. Like, we hit my last note like a half hour ago.
Cool.
I mean, I loved it. And
oh, good. I'm glad.
I mean, yeah, I guess you probably couldn't even tell because it was mostly you talking.
Sorry.
But
I'll try not to hog it next time.
No, it's all good.
Oh, I know. I did this last time where I ended up taking the wheel.
You did?
Yeah. You thanked me at the end and were like, oh, thanks for talking so much.
Oh, yeah, because I didn't have as much to say last time. This time I had notes. I had more notes for funny games, but I had notes. I'm sure we both gave it this, unless you did one better. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Just like mine. Just like my movie.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it so much.
I did.
It's really...
I didn't get to express that much, but yeah, I did.
I stole the show because I really like this movie. God damn it.
I did.
It's such a good experience, though. Like, you know, you will be glued to the screen, and it doesn't waste a minute of your time. So, I mean, for that, and since it hits me so personally too, this movie's getting a 10.
All right.
I'm not going to be that one to give it a 9. I won't change anything about this.
I thought you were going to. I wasn't sure, but just because you had a few complaints with it, but they were mostly
they're mostly nitpicks, and it was just all about stuff that was, you know, had to do with the musical accuracies and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But the soundtrack more than makes up for it.
And almost everyone I follow gave this a perfect score.
Yeah, it's got the most common rating on Letterboxd too.
Same with only a few other movies, like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Hey, but there's why I mess with that 9 out of 10.
God damn it.
God damn it.
God damn it. So close.
But hey, you got Ralph's vote.
Fuck. See, and this...
It's funny, Sardonicast isn't even necessarily an influence on this
similarity
podcast.
to tie the two movies we talked about together.
Wait. Let me finish my thought.
Okay, sorry.
It's only an influence on half of the podcast. That's all I wanted to say. You've never seen a Sardonicast episode.
I haven't. So it's an influence on half, yeah.
Yeah, I just follow all these people, so I'm just like, oh, what'd they think about what we just talked about?
Yeah, so the similarity to tie these two movies is it has crazy ass drumming.
Drumming?
Yeah, like in the one,
okay.
like in that one song.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
No, actually, that was the joke thing I came up with.
Okay.
You can take that if that's what you really want. No, the similarity I put together is that at times these movies are hard to watch.
At times.
Well, I mean, they're hard to watch for different ways, but they both made me uncomfortable.
True.
They both make you uncomfortable. You kind of wince and cringe and just, really tough.
Yeah, I already told you how they felt, I guess, somewhat similar to me. Not much at all, but a little bit. That's
the similarities. It's cool that we line up the recommendations like this.
I still wouldn't say they're that similar, but yeah.
No, they're not. No, but
all right, that's that. And we don't have recommendations, but we will have recommendations next time.
Next time might be a lot shorter, depending.
The next podcast?
Yeah, because we'll actually have a topic.
It depends what we talk about.
Which we don't know yet. I don't know.
You know us. Well, yeah, the only reason our podcast used to sometimes be like an hour and a half is because Mr. Robot, really.
That's true, yeah.
Because we'd fucking record them on Sunday nights.
Oh, shit. Maybe I should stop trying to like go through the entire movie and just go through notes. But it's so much fun to like talk about. Oh yeah, because
you do a lot of summarizing, and I'm like, well, I don't know. Actually, I'm a little confused on whether or not we should focus on summarizing, because the idea is that you don't watch us talk about a movie if you haven't seen it.
Well,
so
if
I'm just like, we can just talk about the notes,
It kind of
the
helps me
stuff
go.
that stood out.
It kind of helps me go through it though, and like talk about like, oh, this is a cool moment, and this too.
I've
I really
kind
like
of
what they
done
did with
that.
this scene.
I've kind of done that too, but that's more for movies where I just kind of took note of every fucking scene, which is usually if I recommend something, then like I find something in every scene I want to talk about. Especially like something like Eraserhead.
Yeah.
I just kept having shit to say. All right.
Cool.
Did
Well,
you just get a phone call?
that's about it. No, I got a text.
Okay.
So that's some good timing.
We did it.
Yeah, we did it. We're
Hooray.
done here.
And I guess I'm going to blow out the
Yeah,
candle
you got to
tonight,
blow up
but
the candle.
yeah, we'll be back next week with something we don't know yet.
We'll find out. You'll find out. We'll all find out together.
And we'll have recommendations for the following week.
Hooray.
It's funny, what we were supposed to do with weeks like this is give a longer rec. So we had like 2 weeks to catch up. But what actually happened in this case is we missed a week because you moved back.
I am back here.
You are back here, so
I'm
hello.
back on this couch.
Hello to good audio.
Oh, damn it. I forgot to make that joke where I was like, oh, no, I actually don't watch your rec. I just want to hang out.
Oh, yeah?
Just want to talk.
Yeah, that'd be fucked up. I actually didn't move back. I just wanted to record an episode here in person.
Yeah. See ya.
Thanks for helping me move.
You think I'm going to move my stuff? I'm going to go stay at a Motel 6 now.
Help me move it back.
Help me move back.
All right. Let's do it.
Let's blow out the candle. All right. 3, 2, 1.